Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto becomes cold and composed in Bleach crossover part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. In this alternate story, Minato Namikaze was born as a half-Hyuga, a fact that would play a pivotal role in the life of his son. After the tragic Ninetales incident, in which Minato and Kushina sacrificed their lives to save the village, their newborn son Naruto was left orphaned. Out of compassion and duty, Hayashi Hyuga and his wife, Hitomi, adopted Naruto into the prestigious Hyuga clan, bringing the infant into the world of nobility and tradition. 2 months after adopting Naruto, Hitomi gave birth to their daughter, Hinata, making Naruto and Hinata siblings in all but blood. Though Naruto bore little resemblance to the Hyuga beyond his pale complexion and noble demeanor, his striking blue eyes, passed down from his father, served as a reminder of his Namikaze heritage. 3.5 years later. When Hinata was just 3 years old, tragedy struck during a peace treaty negotiation with Kumogakure. The village's head ninja, under the guise of diplomacy, attempted to kidnap the young Hyuga heiress to claim her Byakugan for his village. Hayashi acted swiftly, killing the kidnapper to protect his daughter. However, the incident escalated into a diplomatic crisis. To avoid war between the villages, Hisashi Hyuga, Hayashi's twin brother and a member of the branch family, offered his life in exchange. With his self-sacrifice, the Hyuga clan narrowly averted disaster, but the loss left deep scars on the family. Naruto and the Hyuga Way. Raised as a member of the main family, Naruto adopted the strict traditions of the Hyuga clan. His personality reflected the teachings of the Hyuga noble code, honor, duty, and an unyielding adherence to the rules. Like Byakuya Kichiki in another life, Naruto valued discipline above all else, enforcing the clan's principles with unwavering resolve. One incident stood out as an early example of Naruto's loyalty to the rules. At the age of 8, Neji Hyuga, a branch family prodigy, openly disrespected Hinata during a training session, questioning her worth as the clan heiress. Naruto, seeing Neji's behavior as a breach of decorum, acted swiftly. "Neji," Naruto said coldly, his voice carrying the weight of his authority as a main family member. "Your words dishonor not only Hinata-sama but the entire Hyuga clan. Apologize immediately." Neji glared at Naruto but said nothing, his pride preventing him from complying. Without hesitation, Naruto used his superior skill in the gentle fist to strike Neji's chakra points, leaving him immobilized. "Your talent does not exempt you from respecting the clan's hierarchy," Naruto stated, his tone calm but firm. "Consider this your only warning." Neji, though furious, begrudgingly learned that day not to cross Naruto, who commanded respect through both strength and authority. Though Naruto was part of the Hyuga main branch, the villagers of Konoha treated him with disdain and fear due to his Jinchuriki status. Even among the Hyuga, whispers of the monster within followed him. Yet Naruto did not falter. He paid no mind to the hatred and fear, for his sense of duty and adherence to the clan's rules were all that mattered to him. As the years passed, Naruto proved himself a prodigy within the Hyuga clan. He awakened the Byakugan at a remarkably young age and mastered the gentle fist with an elegance that surpassed even the most skilled elders. Despite his adoption, Naruto's unmatched skills and discipline led many to consider him a worthy candidate for the next clan head, a prospect that stirred tension within the Hyuga. Naruto's relationship with Hinata and Hanabi remained distant and formal. While he treated them with the respect befitting a main family member, there was no warmth in his interactions. His stoic demeanor and strict adherence to duty left little room for familial affection, further reinforcing his image as an unyielding noble. Yet, deep within Naruto's mind, faint memories of a lifelong past began to resurface. Images of cherry blossoms, a blade of scattered petals, and a life of nobility and duty filled his dreams. He could not fully comprehend their meaning, but these fragments awakened something within him, a sense of familiarity, as if these memories belonged to someone else entirely. Unbeknownst to him, Naruto was the reincarnation of Byakuya Kichiki, the former captain of the 6th Division of the Godai 13. His current life as a Hyuga seemed to mirror the stoic and disciplined existence he had once led, but these memories would soon challenge his understanding of his identity and destiny. Naruto's reputation in the academy was nothing short of legendary. From the moment he enrolled, it was clear he was leagues above his peers. His mastery of taijutsu, coupled with his Byakugan and an uncanny sense of strategy, made him the standard to which others aspired. Even the academy instructors, many of whom harbored lingering prejudices due to his Jinchuriki status, could not deny his brilliance. "Another perfect score," Irika muttered as he reviewed Naruto's test results. He glanced at Mizuki, who scowled at the name at the top of the leaderboard. He's too perfect, Mizuki sneered. There's something unnatural about it. Irika frowned but chose not to respond. Whatever lingering fears Mizuki held, Naruto had earned his accolades fair and square. Naruto's excellence did not go unnoticed by his peers. Girls in the academy were enamored with his calm demeanor and noble presence. His striking blue eyes and refined appearance, so different from the usual roughness of young shinobi in training, made him an object of admiration. I heard Naruto-kun scored the highest again, squealed a classmate, her eyes shining with admiration. Of course he did, another girl sighed. He's practically perfect. Their attention, however, was divided between Naruto and Sasuke Uchiha, who had his own share of admirers. Unlike Naruto, Sasuke basked in the attention, but it was the perceived competition that irked him the most. Naruto, for his part, was indifferent to Sasuke's attempts to surpass him. Whenever Sasuke tried to engage him in a contest, Naruto would dismiss him with a cold, disinterested glance. You think you're better than me, don't you? Sasuke spat one day after class, his fists clenched. Naruto's gaze was steady and impassive. I don't think I am better. It's simply a fact, he replied, turning to leave. Kiba, too, saw Naruto as a rival, though his rivalry was more out of a need to prove himself. You may be good, Naruto, but you're not that good, Kiba declared one day during taijutsu practice. Naruto's response was a calm, prove it. Despite Kiba's best efforts, he could never land a solid hit on Naruto. Though Naruto's skills were advanced enough for early graduation, he chose to remain in the academy, much to Hayashi's dismay. You have nothing left to learn there, Hayashi said one evening during dinner at the Hyuga estate. I disagree, father, Naruto replied formally. There is value in remaining. A strong shinobi is more than just skill, it's about understanding one's comrades. Hayashi narrowed his eyes but did not press further. Unbeknownst to him, Naruto's decision was rooted in something more personal. His memories of another life had been surfacing more frequently, and with them came a growing sense of protectiveness for Hinata and Hanabi. Though his interactions with them remained cold and formal, Naruto secretly ensured their safety and well-being. During kunai throwing practice, Naruto consistently hit the bullseye with every throw. His precision was unmatched, drawing out whispers from his classmates. Even Sasuke, who prided himself on his skill, couldn't help but feel overshadowed. During one sparring match, Naruto was paired with a fellow student who charged at him recklessly. With a single fluid movement, Naruto sidestepped and tapped the boy's shoulder lightly, disabling him with perfect gentle fist technique. That was incredible, Naruto-kun! A girl exclaimed. Naruto offered no response, walking back to his spot with his usual composed demeanor. Scenes at the Hyuga estate. At the Hyuga compound, Naruto's life was a mix of rigid tradition and quiet introspection. He often spent hours practicing the gentle fist style, perfecting every movement until it was flawless. One evening, as he trained in the courtyard, Hinata approached timidly, clutching a small tray with tea. Nisan, she said softly. I thought you might be thirsty. Naruto glanced at her, his expression unreadable. Thank you, Lady Hinata, he said curtly, taking the tea without further comment. As Hinata walked away, Naruto's gaze lingered on her for a moment longer than usual. Though he outwardly maintained his cold demeanor, his thoughts were conflicted. She's trying so hard, just like someone else I once knew. Later that night, Naruto quietly visited the training hall where Hinata was practicing alone. Hidden in the shadows, he watched as she struggled to perfect her technique. Though he made no move to reveal himself, he silently resolved to ensure her progress, even if from a distance. The more Naruto trained and interacted with others, the more vivid his memories of another life became. One night, as he meditated under a cherry tree in the Hyuga garden, a vision came to him. He saw himself standing amidst a field of falling petals, wielding a blade that shimmered like scattered sakura blossoms. This feeling, he murmured, his hand instinctively reaching for the hilt of a sword that wasn't there. Though the memories were fragmented, they carried with them a sense of purpose and duty, qualities that had always guided him. Yet, they also left him with questions about who he truly was and what role he was meant to play in this life. For now, Naruto focused on his duties as a Hyuga and a shinobi in training, but he couldn't shake the feeling that his past and present were on a path to convergence. Naruto struggled to find the time to explore the abilities he saw in his dreams. The demands of being a Hyuga, constant training, clan duties, and the rigorous schedule of academy life left little room for personal endeavors. Whenever he broached the subject of learning swordsmanship, Hayashi and the elders dismissed it. They clung to their traditions, viewing Naruto's request as an insult to the Hyuga's ancient and revered gentle fist style. Years later, academy graduation. The day had finally come for the academy students to graduate and be assigned to their teams. Naruto, ever the embodiment of poise and discipline, stood out among the crowd. He was placed on Team 7 alongside Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and their Jonin sensei, Kakashi Hatake. Meanwhile, Hinata was grouped with Shino Aburame and Kiba Inuzuka, under Kurenai Yuhi's guidance. As Hinata prepared to leave with her team, Naruto called out to her. "Lady Hinata," he said in his composed tone, "do not bring shame to the Hyuga name." Hinata flinched slightly under his gaze but bowed respectfully. "Yes, Naruto-Nizan." Kurenai's eyes narrowed as she watched the exchange. She disliked how the Hyuga clan treated Hinata, seeing it as overly strict and cold. Her glare did not go unnoticed. Naruto's sharp voice cut through the tension. "It is unbecoming to glare, Lady Kurenai." Startled, Kurenai quickly masked her expression. "My apologies," she replied, though her tone carried a faint edge. Kiba sighed heavily, rubbing the back of his neck. Why does Naruto always have to be such a prick? Naruto's gaze shifted to him, cold and unwavering. "As a clan heir, Kiba, you should act accordingly. Your conduct reflects not just on you but on your entire clan." Kiba groaned. "Yeah, whatever." 1 hour later. Team 7 waited in the empty classroom, but their sensei was nowhere to be found. Naruto, growing weary of the wait, stood up. "Where are you going?" Sakura asked, glancing up from where she sat. "Home," Naruto replied curtly. Sasuke followed suit, rising to his feet. "If he's leaving, I'm leaving." Sakura hesitated but ultimately trailed after Sasuke. At the Hyuga estate. Naruto stepped into the estate to find Hayashi waiting for him. "How did your meeting with your sensei go?" "The man never showed up," Naruto answered, his voice laced with mild irritation. Hayashi nodded knowingly. "Your sensei wouldn't happen to be Kakashi Hatake?" Naruto inclined his head. "Punctuality has never been one of his strong suits," Hayashi remarked. "You have at least 2 hours to kill before meeting him. Come with me. Let us spar." The Hyuga Training Grounds. In the serene yet imposing training grounds of the Hyuga estate, Naruto and Hayashi faced each other. Both activated their Byakugan, their veins pulsating with chakra as their all-seeing eyes came to life. Hanabi sat nearby, her gaze flickering between her father and brother with awe and anticipation. The two combatants took their stances, the elegance of the gentle fist evident in every subtle movement. Hayashi struck first, his palm glowing faintly with chakra as he aimed for Naruto's chest. Naruto twisted gracefully, deflecting the blow with a palm of his own before countering with a fluid strike toward Hayashi's abdomen. Hayashi sidestepped, pivoting to unleash a rapid sequence of strikes aimed at Naruto's tenketsu. Naruto blocked and parried, his movements precise, each clash sending faint ripples through the air. "Impressive, Naruto," Hayashi acknowledged. "But you still have much to learn." Naruto's mind raced as he recalled the techniques from his dreams. He decided to test them. With a burst of speed, he attempted Senka, Flash Blossom, darting to Hayashi's side in an effort to strike his Hakusui. Hayashi, however, anticipated the move, stepping back and countering with a swift strike to Naruto's shoulder, disrupting his attack. "Too predictable," Hayashi commented. Undeterred, Naruto tried Utsusimi, cast off Cicada Shell. He moved at blinding speed, leaving behind a near-perfect afterimage. For a moment, Hanabi gasped, thinking Hayashi had landed a blow, only to realize Naruto had reappeared behind his father. Hayashi turned swiftly, a faint smirk on his lips. "Impressive execution, but it won't fool me." The sparring intensified as they both employed the 8 trigrams techniques, each clash showcasing their mastery. Hayashi executed a flawless 8 trigrams, 64 palms, his strikes swift and unrelenting. Naruto responded in kind, matching his father's technique blow for blow, the ground around them trembling from the sheer force of their strikes. "You've grown stronger, Naruto," Hayashi admitted. "But strength alone isn't enough. Mastery requires patience and discipline." Naruto bowed respectfully. "Thank you for the lesson, father." Hanabi clapped softly from the sidelines, her eyes wide with admiration. 2 hours later. Kakashi finally arrived at the academy, only to find it deserted. With a sigh, he muttered, "Late again, I suppose." Chapter 3: The Test Looms. It was 12 p.m., and Kakashi finally arrived at the academy, only to find it deserted. Rubbing the back of his head, he muttered, "Guess I'm late. Again." At the Hyuga estate. Kakashi's first stop was the Hyuga estate. The guards, familiar with his reputation as a Konoha shinobi, escorted him to the training grounds where Naruto was immersed in practice. Kakashi watched with genuine admiration as Naruto moved with calculated precision, his strikes deliberate and graceful, each one a testament to his mastery of the gentle fist style. Impressive, Kakashi remarked. You have an elegance to your training, Naruto. Naruto paused, his sharp blue eyes locking onto Kakashi. You must be Kakashi Hatake, he said curtly, his scowl deepening. Kakashi, scratching his head sheepishly, nodded. That's me. Naruto's gaze hardened. A man of your stature should behave more professionally. Your tardiness is disgraceful. Punctuality is a mark of respect. Kakashi opened his mouth to offer one of his infamous excuses, but Naruto cut him off. Hayashi-sama already told me about your colorful explanations. Don't waste my time with such nonsense. Kakashi blinked, a bit stunned. Well, this kid's going to be a fun one, he thought wryly. The pair visited Sakura's home. Kakashi gave her his typical excuse, claiming he got lost on the path of life. Sakura narrowed her eyes and said flatly, cut the crap. Naruto glanced at Kakashi, his irritation evident. At least someone else sees the absurdity of your behavior. Kakashi sighed inwardly. Even Sakura's getting in on it. Walking through the Uchiha clan district. Their final destination was the Uchiha clan district. The silence of the area hung heavily in the air, making every step feel amplified. Kakashi thought about the tragedy of the Uchiha clan, his visible eye darkening briefly. I suppose this place holds nothing but pain for Sasuke now. Naruto observed the surroundings with a neutral expression, though his mind reflected differently. A place of such great history and power reduced to a ghost town. Sakura, however, was too preoccupied with the idea of seeing Sasuke to notice the somber atmosphere. When they arrived at Sasuke's home, Kakashi called for him. Sasuke stepped outside, his dark eyes immediately focusing on Kakashi with a glare. Kakashi, unperturbed, gave his signature eye smile. Turn that frown upside down, he teased lightly. Sasuke clicked his tongue in annoyance, his irritation palpable. Introductions. Kakashi decided it was time for formal introductions. Alright, let's get to know each other. I'll start. My name is Kakashi Hatake. My likes, dislikes, and hobbies? None of your business. As for my dream, well, I haven't thought of one yet. Sakura followed next. I'm Sakura Haruno. My likes, she glanced at both Naruto and Sasuke, her cheeks flushing slightly. My dislikes are Enopig. My hobbies again, her gaze flickered between Naruto and Sasuke. And my dreams, she looked at them once more, inner Sakura cheering loudly. Kakashi sighed inwardly. Definitely a fangirl. Sasuke was next. His voice was cold and unwavering. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I hate a lot of things, and I don't particularly like anything. What I have is not a dream, because I will make it a reality. I'm going to restore my clan and kill a certain someone. Sakura's heart practically leaped from her chest. So cool, she thought, her eyes sparkling. Naruto, however, was unfazed. He thought to himself, that single-minded thirst for revenge will consume him. Such an obsession is unbecoming of a noble. Finally, it was Naruto's turn. He stood with a noble bearing, his voice measured and formal. I am Naruto Hyuga. My duty is to uphold the honor of the Hyuga clan and serve the village faithfully. That is all. His tone was so detached and professional that even Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Man, this kid's more rigid than the elders at the council meetings. The real test. Kakashi clapped his hands. Well, now that introductions are out of the way, let me explain something important. You're not officially genin yet. Sakura's jaw dropped. What? Kakashi smiled. There's one more test you need to pass. It's tomorrow at Training Ground 7. And one more thing, don't eat breakfast. The test will be so intense that you'll likely puke. Naruto remained stoic, though he silently noted Kakashi's flair for the dramatic. With that, Kakashi disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto, ever the gentleman, turned to Sakura. Lady Sakura, allow me to escort you home. Sakura blinked, surprised but delighted. Oh! Sure! Inner Sakura screamed yes. Alone time with Naruto. Naruto and Sakura bid farewell to Sasuke. As Sasuke watched Naruto's retreating back, his fists clenched. I won't let him outshine me tomorrow. He's not better than me. The morning sunlight filtered through the windows of the Hyuga estate as the family gathered in the dining room for breakfast. The room was serene, with its traditional decor and the quiet elegance expected of the Hyuga household. Hitomi, graceful and kind, placed bowls of rice, miso soup, and small portions of fish and pickled vegetables before her children. Naruto, sitting perfectly upright, offered a polite bow. "Thank you for the meal, Lady Hitomi," he said, his voice formal yet warm. Hanabi giggled softly at Naruto's strict demeanor. "Big brother, you're so serious all the time." Naruto's blue eyes glanced at her briefly, his expression softening only slightly. "Proper decorum is expected at the breakfast table, Hanabi-sama." Hanabi pouted at this. Hinata, sitting quietly across from Naruto, timidly began eating, casting the occasional glance at her older brother. Though Naruto's tone was cold and his words formal, she couldn't help but feel a sense of hidden protectiveness from him. "Are you ready for your test, Naruto?" Hitomi asked, her voice gentle. Naruto nodded, his tone less formal. "Yes, mother. However, I suspect Kakashi-sensei will repeat his lack of punctuality." Hitomi smiled softly but said nothing. The family continued their meal, the sound of clinking dishes and soft conversation filling the air. 3 hours later. Naruto decided it was finally time to head to Training Ground 7. Predicting Kakashi's habitual lateness, he had taken his time preparing and left the estate only after finishing his training routine. When he arrived at the training ground, he noted that Sasuke and Sakura were already there, both visibly annoyed by Kakashi's absence. Naruto approached the two, his expression calm. "As expected, our sensei's poor time management is consistent," he remarked. Sasuke clicked his tongue in irritation. "This is a waste of time." Sakura, who had been tapping her foot impatiently, muttered, "I swear, if he gives me another stupid excuse." Moments later, Kakashi appeared in a puff of smoke, casually waving. "Yo, good morning." The trio glared at him, their expressions speaking volumes. Kakashi opened his mouth, about to deliver one of his infamous excuses, but Sakura immediately cut him off. "Save it. Just tell us what the test is already." Naruto crossed his arms, nodding in agreement. "At least make an effort to respect our time, sensei." Kakashi rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Tough crowd. Kakashi led the group through the forested expanse of Training Ground 7, eventually stopping at spots where 2 flags were planted some distance apart. He turned to face his team, his usual relaxed demeanor in place. "Here's the test," Kakashi began. "This is a capture the flag exercise. Each of us gets a flag." He pointed at their 1 flags. "That's your flag. Your job is to protect it while trying to take mine." Kakashi paused, looking at them seriously. "If I take your flag, you fail, and you don't become genin. But if you take my flag, you pass." Sakura furrowed her brows. "That's it? Just take your flag?" Kakashi's eye curved into an amused arc. "That's it? But I wouldn't underestimate the challenge." Naruto's gaze narrowed as he studied Kakashi. He suspected there was more to this test than Kakashi was letting on. "The time limit is 2 hours, Kakashi said, walking toward the flag designated as his. "You've got 5 minutes to prepare. Begin when you hear the signal." With that, he vanished, leaving the 3 of them to strategize. Sasuke immediately took charge, his voice authoritative. "I'll go after Kakashi and take his flag. You 2 stay back and defend ours." Naruto frowned. "You intend to handle him alone? That's reckless." "I don't need your help," Sasuke snapped, his irritation clear. "Just don't screw up and lose our flag." Naruto's eyes narrowed, but he said nothing. He could see that Sasuke's determination wasn't just about passing the test, it was about proving that he was superior than him. Naruto considered arguing but decided it would be futile. Sakura hesitated before nodding. "All right. Sasuke-kun, be careful." Naruto turned to Sakura. "We'll need to stay vigilant. Kakashi is likely to test our defense. Be ready for anything." Sakura nodded, steeling herself. Sasuke advances. Sasuke moved quickly through the trees. His mind raced as he planned his approach. He knew Kakashi would be expecting him, but that didn't deter him. Back at their flag, Naruto and Sakura stood ready. Naruto's Byakugan activated as he scanned the area for any sign of Kakashi. "Do you think Sasuke can handle this?" Sakura asked hesitantly. Naruto didn't look at her as he replied. "His skills are adequate, but overconfidence can lead to mistakes. We'll see." Sakura fidgeted nervously, but Naruto's calm demeanor gave her a small sense of reassurance. The test had begun, and the stakes were clear. Each of them had their strengths, but the true challenge lay not in their individual abilities but in their capacity to work as a team. Kakashi, ever the enigmatic sensei, was ready to see how far they would go to succeed or fail. Chapter 5. Halfway to the flag's location, a sudden shift in the air made Sasuke halt. Kakashi appeared before him, his stance relaxed yet imposing. "You're pretty quick, Sasuke," Kakashi said, his voice carrying a hint of amusement. "But you're not quite there yet." Sasuke didn't respond verbally, instead launching a flurry of shuriken at Kakashi. Kakashi effortlessly dodged. Sasuke charged forward, kunai in hand, aiming a slash at Kakashi. Kakashi sidestepped, catching Sasuke's wrist mid-strike and flipping him over. Sasuke hit the ground but recovered quickly, flipping back onto his feet. "Not bad," Kakashi commented. "But you'll need more than that." Sasuke lunged again, this time combining his strikes with his ninja wires. Kakashi ducked and twisted, evading the wires while keeping a close eye on Sasuke's movements. "Fire style, fireball jutsu," Sasuke shouted, unleashing a large fireball toward Kakashi. Kakashi jumped to avoid the flames, using a tree branch to launch himself higher. Sasuke anticipated this, hurling a barrage of kunai toward him. Kakashi countered with his own kunai, knocking the projectiles aside before landing gracefully on the ground. "You're persistent, I'll give you that," Kakashi said. "But persistence alone won't win this." Kakashi moved in a blur, appearing behind Sasuke. Before Sasuke could react, Kakashi landed a swift strike to his shoulder, sending him stumbling forward. Sasuke growled in frustration, wiping blood from his lip. From a distance, Naruto observed the fight through his Byakugan. He could see every movement, every strike, and it was clear that Sasuke was outmatched. With a sigh, Naruto decided to intervene. Naruto arrived just as Kakashi was preparing to finish the skirmish. "Is it wise to leave your teammate alone with the flag?" Kakashi asked, not looking away from Naruto. Naruto didn't flinch. Instead, he raised a hand, muttering under his breath. "Bakudo number 61, Rikujikoro." Golden pillars of light slammed into Kakashi, binding him in place. His visible eye widened in surprise. "What?" Sasuke staggered to his feet, glaring at Naruto. The sight of Naruto showing him up again stoked his irritation. But before he could say anything, Kakashi and him suddenly switched places. The golden light now held Sasuke captive, his eyes blazing with fury. "Damn it!" Sasuke shouted, struggling against the bind. Kakashi reappeared behind Naruto, a kunai in hand. He slashed at Naruto's side, drawing blood. But the figure before him shimmered and vanished. "An afterimage?" Kakashi muttered, turning sharply. His instincts screamed danger, but when he looked again, both Naruto and Sasuke were gone. Kakashi rubbed his neck. "These kids are full of surprises," he murmured, retreating toward the flag he had left guarded by a clone. Naruto and Sasuke regrouped at their original flag, where Sakura was waiting. Naruto's expression was cold as he turned to Sasuke. "Reckless," Naruto said sharply. "You had no chance against him." Sasuke clenched his fists. "I didn't ask for your help." Naruto's voice hardened. "It doesn't matter if you asked. Kakashi is an experienced ninja with decades of fieldwork. You're a child playing at being a shinobi." Sasuke's glare could have cut through steel, but before he could retort, Sakura stepped between them. "Enough. We can't start fighting each other. That's exactly what Kakashi-sensei wants." Naruto sighed, composing himself. "You're right, Sakura. Let's focus on the test." Naruto turned to both of them. "We're leaving the flag unguarded." Sakura and Sasuke stared at him like he had lost his mind. "Are you insane?" Sakura exclaimed. Naruto held up a hand. "Think about it. Kakashi isn't guarding his flag directly. That means he's relying on us to split our forces. If we all go on the offensive, we have a better chance of overwhelming him." Sasuke frowned. "And if he circles back to take our flag?" Naruto smirked slightly. "If that happens, I'll be back in an instant. You have my word." The confidence in his voice made Sakura hesitate, then nod reluctantly. Sasuke clicked his tongue but eventually agreed. "Fine," Sasuke muttered. "But if this fails, it's on you." Naruto nodded. "Then let's move. Time is running out." With that, the three of them began their march toward Kakashi's flag, leaving their own behind. Their next clash with their enigmatic sensei would determine their fate as genin. The trio advanced steadily through Training Ground 7, their eyes set on Kakashi's flag. Naruto led with a calm yet determined demeanor, while Sasuke followed with sharp focus, and Sakura flanked them with nervous energy. Despite their differing personalities, their movements were coordinated. Halfway to Kakashi's flag, he appeared in their path, casually leaning against a tree with his signature eye smile. "So, you're finally working together. I'm impressed," Kakashi said. Naruto stepped forward, his gaze sharp. "Impressed enough to let us pass?" Kakashi chuckled. "Not quite." Naruto and Sasuke lunged at Kakashi simultaneously. Naruto aimed a series of precise strikes with his gentle fist, while Sasuke attacked with a kunai, his movements aggressive and direct. Kakashi sidestepped Naruto's palm strike and parried Sasuke's kunai with his own. "You two are getting better," Kakashi remarked, pivoting to avoid Sasuke's kick. "But you're still too predictable." Sakura stayed back, her hands full of kunai and shuriken. She hurled them with practiced aim, creating a barrage that forced Kakashi to move defensively. Naruto took the opening, unleashing 8 trigrams, air palm, a burst of chakra that shot toward Kakashi like a cannon. Kakashi backflipped, narrowly avoiding the blast, but the force disrupted his balance. Sasuke seized the opportunity, forming seals quickly. Fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Small fireballs erupted from his mouth, spreading in an unpredictable pattern. Kakashi twisted his body to dodge, but the flames obscured his vision briefly. Naruto appeared in his blind spot, his Byakugan glowing fiercely. 8 trigrams, 64 palms. Naruto's hands became a blur as he struck Kakashi repeatedly, aiming for his Tenketsu points. Kakashi managed to block some of the strikes with his forearm guards, but the speed and precision of Naruto's attacks forced him to retreat. "Impressive," Kakashi admitted as he created distance. "Your gentle fist is refined beyond your years. But..." He suddenly appeared behind Naruto, aiming a kunai at his shoulder. Naruto turned swiftly, countering with an air palm that forced Kakashi to retreat again. As the fight continued, Sasuke formed more seals. Fire style, Great Fireball Jutsu. A massive ball of flame erupted from Sasuke's mouth. Kakashi countered with the Water Bullet Jutsu. The two techniques collided, creating a dense cloud of steam that blanketed the area. Naruto smirked. "Perfect." Using the cover of the smokescreen, Naruto used Shuinpa, vanishing from sight. His sudden disappearance caught Kakashi's attention. "Smart," Kakashi muttered, his eyes scanning the area. Naruto reappeared near Kakashi's flag, his eyes narrowing as he spotted a clone standing guard. The clone immediately moved to intercept, throwing a kunai aimed at Naruto's chest. Naruto sidestepped, closing the distance in an instant. The clone slashed at him with another kunai, but Naruto ducked under the attack, using the momentum to deliver a powerful air palm. The clone dissipated into a puff of smoke, but Naruto didn't relax. His Byakugan revealed the flag within arm's reach. As he reached out, the ground beneath him shifted. Another clone emerged, attempting to grab his ankle. Naruto smirked, twisting his body mid-air to appear behind the clone in a flash. His hand grasped the flag tightly as the clone vanished. "I've got it," Naruto murmured, a rare hint of satisfaction in his voice. Naruto returned to his teammates, holding the flag high. Sakura gasped, and Sasuke's eyes narrowed in a mixture of surprise and annoyance. "You actually got it?" Sasuke muttered, his tone a mix of disbelief and irritation. Naruto handed the flag to Sakura without a word. Kakashi emerged from the shadows, clapping slowly. Well, you've managed to get this far. I'm impressed." Naruto stepped forward, his expression unchanging. "Spare us the compliments. Have we passed or not?" Kakashi chuckled. "Yes, you've passed. You worked together when it counted, Kakashi. So I was correct, the test wasn't about the flag after all. So that's why you didn't attempt to take our flag, Naruto." Kakashi nodded. It was never about the flag, Sakura and Sasuke thought. "Naruto, you saw an opportunity and took it. Sasuke, you provided the necessary cover with your fire jutsu. And Sakura, you supported your team effectively. That's what being a ninja is all about. Teamwork, Kakashi." Naruto's face remained stoic, but there was a subtle glint of satisfaction in his eyes. "From now on, Team 7 is officially formed," Kakashi declared. "Congratulations." Kakashi offers some final words. "In the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum. That's true, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum." Chapter 7. At the Konoha Cemetery. Kakashi stood silently before the graves of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, the afternoon sun casting long shadows across the stone markers. His hands were tucked into his pockets, his expression thoughtful beneath his mask. "Well, Minato-sensei, Kushina, your son passed the test," Kakashi said softly, his tone carrying a hint of amusement. "He's, let's say, not what I expected. Stuck up, prickly, and formal to a fault." But Kakashi's visible eye softened. "He's a good kid. You'd be proud of him." He sighed, glancing at the names etched in stone. "Still, I can't help but feel he's carrying too much weight, too many rules, too much expectation. He deserves to be happy, to live without feeling the need to shoulder the world." Kakashi's voice trailed off as memories of his father, Tsukumo Hatake, surfaced. He clenched his fists briefly, recalling the guilt and obsession with rules that consumed him after his father's death. Unbeknownst to Kakashi, a figure shrouded in darkness watched him from the shadows. Tobi, or rather Obito, observed his old friend with an unreadable expression, his lone Sharingan glowing faintly beneath his mask. Kakashi still haunted by the past, Tobi thought. Once again you'll be powerless to save someone you care about. The Akatsuki will come for the boy, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Kakashi turned to leave, offering one last farewell. "I'll keep watching over him for you, Minato-sensei. For both of you." As Kakashi disappeared into the distance, Tobi remained in the shadows, his thoughts dark and foreboding. "Enjoy your peace while it lasts, Kakashi. It won't be long before the world you know begins to crumble." He vanished into the shadows, leaving only silence behind. When Naruto returned home later that evening, he found Hinata seated in the living room with their parents, a small smile on her face. She had just finished telling Hayashi, Hanabi, and Hitomi about her success in passing her team's test. Naruto congratulated her, his tone cold and formal as always. "Well done, Lady Hinata." Hinata smiled warmly, seeing through his icy exterior. "Thank you, Naruto-Nizan." Naruto, with a rare day off, approached Hayashi that morning with a request to accompany Niji to one of his training sessions. Hayashi granted permission without hesitation, intrigued by his son's interest in Niji's peculiar sensei, Might Guy. When Naruto asked Niji about joining him, the older Hyuga complied, though his expression suggested mild surprise. At Training Ground 3. When Naruto and Niji arrived, they were greeted by a peculiar sight. Might Guy and Rock Lee were running laps around the training ground on their hands, their movements fast despite the awkward position. Nearby, Tenten practiced her aim, precision evident as her weapons struck targets with pinpoint accuracy. Guy and Lee flipped into the air, landing gracefully in front of Niji and Naruto. Guy's toothy grin and thumbs up were immediate. "Ah, Niji! And who is this youthful companion you've brought along?" Niji bowed slightly. "This is Naruto-sama, the heir to the Hyuga clan." Naruto inclined his head politely. "Please, no need for such formalities, Niji. I've no intention of becoming clan head. My devotion lies with Lady Hinata and Lady Hanabi." Tenten glanced at Naruto, intrigued. So this is the famous Naruto, she thought. He's kind of cute. Lee stepped forward energetically, his eyes wide with excitement. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Naruto-sama. My name is Rock Lee." Naruto returned the courtesy. "Likewise, Lee." Guy's booming voice interrupted. "Ah, the fire of youth burns bright in you, Naruto. What brings you here today?" "I came to observe and, if possible, participate in one of your training sessions," Naruto replied, his tone steady. Guy gave an enthusiastic thumbs up. "Excellent, Naruto. The flames of youth will burn even brighter today." Lee nodded eagerly. "Your interest in our training shows your dedication, Naruto-sama. Let's give it our all." The race through the village. Guy handed Naruto and Niji weights similar to those he and Lee wore. Guy explained the rules of their race: start at Training Ground 7, run through the entire village, and circle back. The first to finish would win. With that, the four lined up and took off at Guy's command. "Ready, go!" They launched into action. Guy and Lee surged ahead immediately, their speed incredible despite the weights. Naruto maintained a steady pace at first, observing their movements. Niji trailed behind, his face composed but clearly unused to the challenge of running with such burdens. As they raced through the bustling streets of Konoha, villagers paused to watch the spectacle, some cheering, others gawking at the sheer absurdity of it all. Lee, running just behind Guy, glanced back at Naruto with wide eyes. "Naruto-sama, you're keeping up well." Naruto didn't reply but increased his speed slightly. Though he avoided using Shunpa to teleport outright, his form was efficient and well measured, allowing him to close the gap with minimal effort. By the halfway point, Guy still held the lead, his relentless stamina keeping him ahead. Naruto, however, began gaining ground on Lee, his breathing steady and calculated. "Impressive, Naruto-sama," Lee called out, though a spark of competitive energy flickered in his eyes. "But you won't surpass my youthful flames so easily." Naruto didn't respond verbally, but with a sudden burst of speed, he overtook Lee, moving into second place. Lee's eyes widened in shock and determination. "What? No way! I can't let this stand." The final stretch of the race brought them back toward Training Ground 7. Naruto was now only a few meters behind Guy, his Byakugan active as he studied Guy's movements. The older man's speed and stamina were nothing short of extraordinary. Naruto pushed himself harder, his muscles burning under the weight, but he couldn't quite close the distance. Guy crossed the finish line first, landing gracefully with a victorious pose. Naruto arrived mere seconds later, sliding to a stop with controlled ease. He exhaled, but showed no signs of exhaustion. Lee finished shortly after Naruto, dropping to his knees in shock. "Second place? Naruto-sama, you surpassed me." His disbelief quickly morphed into fiery determination. This is incredible. Naruto-sama, I now declare you my rival in the flames of youth." Naruto raised an eyebrow at Lee's proclamation, his tone dry. "I wasn't aware we were competing." Guy's booming laughter filled the air as he clapped Naruto on the back. "Outstanding, Naruto! To finish second in your first race with weights, your flames of youth burn brightly indeed." Niji crossed the finish line a moment later, his usual calm composure marred by mild irritation. He said nothing, though his glance at Naruto conveyed both acknowledgement and begrudging respect. Lee stood up, his fists clenched in excitement. "Naruto-sama, I promise to work harder and surpass you next time. My youthful determination will not falter." Naruto smirked slightly, brushing dust off his sleeve. "You're welcome to try." Guy gave another enthusiastic thumbs up. "This race has shown me something beautiful. The youthful spirit of rivalry burns strong today." The group stood together briefly to catch their breath, the air alive with energy as the next phase of their training loomed. The air at Training Ground 3 was still, the post-race cooldown giving way to the next challenge. Naruto observed silently, his cold, composed gaze fixed on the sparring ring where Tenten and Lee prepared to face off. His stance was relaxed, arms crossed over his chest, but his focus was razor-sharp, like a hawk surveying its prey. Guy stood on the sidelines, brimming with enthusiasm. "Tenten! Lee! Show us the fruits of your training. Remember, this is a spar to sharpen your skills, so no holding back, but also no unnecessary injuries." Lee nodded firmly, bowing to Tenten. "Tenten, I look forward to this match. Your mastery of weapons is truly awe-inspiring." Tenten smirked, rolling her shoulders as she unsealed a blue staff from her scroll. "And your taijutsu is great, Lee. But don't think I'll go easy on you." Naruto's expression remained unreadable, his focus on the upcoming spar. Lee wasted no time, dashing toward Tenten with great speed. His opening move was the Leaf Gale, a sweeping low kick aimed at knocking her off her feet. Tenten anticipated the attack, stepping back with practiced ease. She countered by lunging forward with a sharp thrust of her staff, aiming for Lee's side. Lee twisted his body, narrowly evading the strike. "Impressive reaction, Tenten," he said, his voice filled with admiration. "Flattery won't save you, Lee," she retorted, spinning her staff and transitioning into a series of rapid strikes. Lee ducked and weaved. He saw an opening and lunged in close, delivering a swift leaf drop kick. Tenten barely managed to sidestep, the force of the attack creating a small indent in the ground where she had stood. Naruto tilted his head slightly, his tone cool and analytical. "Lee's speed is impressive, but Tenten's precision is keeping him at bay for now." Realizing she couldn't match Lee in close combat, Tenten leaped backward, creating distance. She reached into her scroll, pulling out a Manriki Gasari. With a practiced flick, she sent the weighted chain hurtling toward Lee. Lee dodged the chain with ease, but Tenten wasn't done. She guided the chain with wire strings, using it to limit Lee's movement. Naruto's eyes narrowed slightly as he watched. Smart. She's using the environment and her weapons to control the fight. But Lee won't be trapped for long. Lee moved with astonishing speed, dodging the chain strikes as he closed the gap. He suddenly leapt into the air, flipping over Tenten and landing behind her. "Dynamic entry!" he shouted, delivering a flying kick aimed at her back. Tenten pivoted at the last second, using her weapon to block the kick. The force of the impact sent her skidding backward, but she maintained her balance. I am not done yet, Tenten. Lee grinned, his enthusiasm unwavering. Then I will step it up. He charged forward, unleashing a series of rapid kicks, the leaf hurricane. Tenten deflected the first kick with her staff but struggled to keep up as Lee's attacks became faster and more unpredictable. A high kick broke through her defense, grazing her shoulder and forcing her to retreat. Tenten took a deep breath, calming her mind. She reached into her scroll and retrieved several kunai, attached with explosive tags to them. With a flick of her wrist, she sent them flying toward Lee in a carefully orchestrated pattern. Lee's sharp eyes tracked the kunai as he weaved through the explosions, his agility on full display. Your aim is as perfect as ever, Tenten. Tenten smirked. And you're still talking too much. She used the distraction to close the distance, her staff striking out in a flurry of precise attacks. Lee blocked and dodged. A strike to his thigh caused him to falter momentarily, giving Tenten the chance to launch a spinning attack aimed at his torso. Lee gritted his teeth, recovering just in time to block the strike with his forearm. You're incredible, Tenten. But I won't let you win so easily. Deciding it was time to end the fight, Lee shifted into a more aggressive stance. He executed the Leaf Great Whirlwind, a series of spinning kicks that targeted Tenten from multiple angles. Tenten struggled to defend against the barrage, her movements growing slower with each attack. Finally, a high kick struck her staff, disarming her and sending the weapon flying. Lee followed up with a leaf rising wind asterisk, his kick grazing her chin and sending her stumbling backward. Before she could recover, Lee landed in front of her, his foot poised just inches from her torso. I yield, Tenten said, raising her hands in surrender. Her voice was calm, though her breathing was heavy. Lee immediately stepped back, bowing deeply. Thank you for the match, Tenten. Your skills are truly inspiring. Tenten smiled faintly, brushing dirt from her clothes. You've gotten even faster, Lee. I'll have to work harder to keep up. Naruto's thoughts. Naruto uncrossed his arms, his expression as cold and composed as ever. Tenten is skilled, but Lee's endurance and raw power are overwhelming. Still, she held her ground longer than most would have. Lee turned to Naruto, his eyes alight with excitement. Naruto-sama, you must spar with me next. I believe you would make an incredible rival. Naruto's gaze remained steady, his tone icy. Sure, but know this. You will lose. Guy clapped his hands together with a booming laugh. Ah, the springtime of youth is upon us. A spar between Rock Lee and the Hyuga prodigy, Naruto. This will be a tale of legends. Naruto's cold gaze flickered to Tenten. Do you have a sword in your scroll? Tenten blinked, taken aback by the request. A sword? Yes, I do. She unsealed a finely crafted katana and handed it to him. Naruto examined the blade, his grip firm yet gentle, and gave her a small nod. Thank you. Niji, standing to the side, stiffened as a memory surfaced. Naruto, bowing before Hayashi and the elders, his voice steady as he requested permission to learn kenjutsu. Their refusal had been swift and absolute, citing tradition and the Hyuga clan's dedication to the gentle fist. And yet, Niji thought, his jaw tightening, this prodigy will likely master it effortlessly, as he does with everything. Meanwhile, Lee frowned. Naruto-sama, I had hoped to test my Goken against your gentle fist. Naruto allowed a rare smirk to grace his lips. Next time, Lee. I'll indulge you in a pure taijutsu match then. Lee's disappointment evaporated, replaced by renewed enthusiasm. I will hold you to that, Naruto-sama. Tenten turned to Niji, curiosity etched on her face. How good is Naruto with a sword? Niji's voice was clipped. He hasn't wielded a sword in his life. Tenten blinked. Then why would he ask for one? Before Niji could respond, Guy interjected, his tone full of passion. Ah, the curiosity of youth. Naruto's prodigious talents in taijutsu are not enough for his fiery spirit, he yearns to master more. Truly a symbol of youthful determination. Niji sighed. Guy-sensei is right. Naruto wants to learn kenjutsu, but the Hyuga elders have always dismissed the idea. Chapter 9. The air was heavy with tension as Naruto stood across from Lee, the borrowed katana in his hand. His cold, composed demeanor clashed starkly with Lee's fiery determination, creating an atmosphere charged with anticipation. Guy stood to the side, practically trembling with excitement, while Tenten and Niji observed with keen interest. Naruto adjusted his grip on the katana, his gaze steady and unyielding. Lee's fists clenched tightly, a grin spreading across his face. Naruto-sama, I've been waiting for this opportunity to test myself against you. Naruto remained silent, offering only a slight nod. Begin! Guy's voice boomed, signaling the start of the match. Lee moved first, his speed impressive even with his weights on. He closed the gap in an instant, leading with a spinning leaf hurricane. Naruto responded with a quick step back, the katana slicing upward in a precise arc to deflect the incoming kicks. Lee didn't relent, pivoting into a low leaf gale sweep kick aimed to unbalance Naruto. Anticipating the move, Naruto sidestepped, vanishing with Shuinpa and reappearing behind Lee. He swung the katana horizontally, aiming to force Lee to disengage. Lee ducked under the blade and countered with a rapid punch to Naruto's side. Naruto twisted his body, narrowly avoiding the strike, and retaliated with a quick palm strike to Lee's chest. The impact forced Lee to skid back a few steps, his grin undiminished. You're incredible, Naruto-sama. But I'm just getting started. Naruto's response was a flicker of a smirk before he vanished again, this time leaving behind a faint afterimage with Utsasimi. Lee spun around just in time to block a downward slash from the katana, the force of the impact causing the ground beneath him to crack slightly. The two combatants became blurs of motion, their movements almost imperceptible to the untrained eye. Tenten struggled to keep up, her gaze darting around the battlefield. I can barely see them. Niji, his Byakugan active, watched intently. Naruto's speed is exceptional, but he's relying on instinct to wield that sword. Lee launched into shadow of the dancing leaf, matching Naruto's movements perfectly as he pursued him. Naruto weaved through the attacks, the katana moving in smooth arcs to deflect strikes while his free hand delivered quick, powerful counters. Despite his initial confidence, Lee began to feel the pressure. Naruto's speed with Shuinpa was relentless, and his unorthodox mix of swordplay and Hakuta strikes made him unpredictable. Lee skidded to a halt, breathing heavily but still grinning. You're faster than I expected, Naruto-sama. But let's see how you handle this. With a dramatic flourish, Lee removed his ankle weights and dropped them to the ground. The resulting crash sent a plume of dust into the air, leaving craters where they landed. In the blink of an eye, Lee was on Naruto, his speed now matching the Hyuga prodigy's Shuinpa. The battlefield became a chaotic whirlwind of movement as Lee unleashed a flurry of attacks, spinning kicks, rapid punches, and feints that kept Naruto on the defensive. Naruto's movements grew sharper as he adapted to Lee's increased speed. He used Utsasimi strategically, creating afterimages to confuse Lee, but the Taijutsu specialist's reflexes allowed him to keep up. Lee spun into a powerful leaf great whirlwind, the series of kicks forcing Naruto to retreat. Despite his superior speed, Naruto found himself struggling to create openings. Lee stepped back, his breathing labored but his determination unwavering. I can't hold back against you, Naruto-sama. I must show you the strength of my youth. He clenched his fists, and a surge of chakra erupted around him. Gate of opening release. As Lee opened the gates, his power and speed skyrocketed. He moved faster than before, his strikes becoming almost impossible to evade. Naruto's Shuinpa became sluggish under the relentless assault, his afterimages fading before they could serve their purpose. Lee launched into the reverse lotus, kicking Naruto high into the air before following up with a series of devastating blows. The final kick sent Naruto hurtling toward the ground, creating a massive crater on impact. Dust and debris filled the air as the spectators watched in stunned silence. But as the dust settled, Naruto emerged from the crater, battered but standing tall. His cold gaze locked onto Lee as he placed a hand on the katana's hilt. I suppose it's time to try something new, Naruto said quietly. He stabbed the katana into the ground and closed his eyes. A sudden wave of Ryatsu burst from him, pitting everyone to the ground with its intensity. What is this? Tenten gasped, struggling to breathe under the pressure. Niji's Byakugan flared as he tried to comprehend the energy. It's unlike anything I've seen before. This is beyond chakra. The katana began to glow, its form shifting as Naruto poured his essence into it. The air around the blade shimmered, and intricate designs appeared along its surface. Tenten stared in awe. It's transforming. Naruto gripped the newly transformed sword and lifted it. Its appearance had changed. The hilt was ornate, resembling a four-pane window, with lavender wrapping and a pristine white sheath. It worked, Naruto murmured, his voice filled with quiet triumph. He turned to Lee, the blade gleaming in his hand. Let's finish this. Naruto whispered, Scatter, Senbin Zakura. But the moment he spoke, the blade cracked. The Ryatsu dissipated, leaving Naruto holding only the broken hilt. Lee, though shocked, didn't hesitate. Naruto-sama, I will end this now. He charged forward, his fists glowing with chakra as he prepared to deliver a finishing blow. But before he could strike, glowing bands of light materialized around him, freezing him in place. Rikujikoro, Naruto said coldly, his voice steady. The 6 rods of light pinned Lee's movements, rendering him immobile. Everyone stared in disbelief. What technique is that? Tenten whispered. Naruto raised his free hand, a crackle of energy forming at his fingertips. Byakurai. A bolt of lightning shot from his hand, striking the ground inches from Lee's feet. The force shattered the light restraints and sent Lee tumbling back, but the fight was clearly over. Naruto picked up the broken blade and turned away, his expression unreadable. You fought well, Lee. Next time, we'll settle this with pure taijutsu. Lee, though exhausted, grinned. Thank you, Naruto-sama. Your strength inspires me to grow even stronger. As the group dispersed, Niji lingered, his thoughts racing. Naruto-sama's strength is beyond anything I've seen. He's no ordinary prodigy, he's something else entirely. The aftermath of the sparring match left the training ground in an eerie calm, the earlier intensity lingering in the air. Naruto picked up the broken sword, his cold, composed demeanor unshaken despite the taxing fight. I appreciate the experience, Naruto said, bowing his head slightly. Guy grinned, giving Naruto a thumbs up. You're always welcome to join our training sessions, Naruto-kun. The energy of youth is best shared, after all. Lee's eyes sparkled with admiration as he clenched his fists. Naruto-sama, your promise to face me in a pure taijutsu battle fills my spirit with determination. I will train harder than ever so I can face you at my full strength. Naruto nodded, a rare glint of respect in his gaze. I'll hold you to that, Lee. Don't disappoint me. Lee's enthusiasm overflowed. I swear, Naruto-sama, I will surpass even my own limits. He turned to Guy, his energy infectious. Guy-sensei, we must train even harder. Let's push ourselves to new heights. Guy matched his energy with a dramatic pose. Yes, Lee. Together, we'll conquer mountains and surpass the bounds of youth. Let's begin right now. 1,000, number 5,000 laps around the village, followed by handstand push-ups on the Hokage monument. Yes, Guy-sensei, Lee shouted, tears of determination streaming down his face. Tenten sighed, though a small smile tugged at her lips. You two are going to wear yourselves out. Naruto turned to Tenten and bowed his head slightly. I apologize for breaking your sword. Tenten blinked in surprise, a faint blush spreading across her cheeks. Oh, it's fine. Really? I wasn't expecting all of that to happen, she said, gesturing vaguely toward the shattered remnants of her weapon. Still, it was careless of me, Naruto said, his tone firm. Tenten waved him off. With his goodbyes said, Naruto turned to leave, his posture as composed as ever. Niji fell into step beside him. I'll escort you back to the estate, Naruto-sama, he said. Naruto nodded in acknowledgement. Behind them, Lee's voice rang out again, his passion unabated. I'll work harder than ever if I hope to stand a chance against you, Naruto-sama. Guy patted Lee on the shoulder, his eyes brimming with pride. That's the spirit, Lee. Let's aim for the stars together. Thank you, Guy-sensei, Lee exclaimed, his grin as bright as the sun. The walk back. The Hyuga estate wasn't far, but the walk felt longer under the weight of unspoken thoughts. Niji glanced at Naruto out of the corner of his eye, his mind racing with questions. He replayed the spar in his head, the way Naruto wielded the sword, despite being a novice, his incredible speed, the oppressive aura that had pinned them all down, the sword's transformation, and the strange techniques Naruto had used to end the fight. Something on your mind, Niji? Naruto's calm voice broke the silence. Niji flinched, caught off guard. He hadn't realized he'd been staring. Naruto's rare smirk made him feel even more self-conscious. You're curious, Naruto stated rather than asked. Niji nodded, his tone respectful. Yes, Naruto-sama. Just what was all of that during the fight? Naruto's chuckle was low and almost teasing. That's a secret, he said, his smirk widening slightly. Niji sighed internally. He had expected as much. Figures, he muttered under his breath. The rest of the walk passed in companionable silence, though Niji's mind continued to churn. Naruto-sama is a mystery, even to us. He surpasses expectations at every turn, and yet he remains so composed. What drives him? What are these abilities he possesses? As they approached the estate gates, Niji stole one last glance at Naruto. Despite his frustrations, he couldn't help but feel a deep respect for the enigmatic prodigy. Naruto paused at the gate, glancing back at Niji. Don't overthink it, Niji. All will become clear in time. With that, Naruto stepped inside, leaving Niji standing at the gate, more intrigued than ever. Chapter 11: A Shinobi's Routine. The Sword's Order. Naruto's days followed a rigorous cycle: Hyuga duties, intense training sessions at both the clan estate and Training Ground 7 with his team, and the seemingly endless string of D-rank missions that felt more like chores than true shinobi work. The missions were a mixed bag. Some villagers barely hid their disdain when they saw him. Others, however, fawned over him, enchanted by his composed demeanor and Hyuga status. Those who admired him often let him off easy, pushing most of the workload onto his teammates while they chatted with him. Naruto, unbothered, allowed it. After all, it wasn't his fault they were so eager to impress him. One afternoon, Naruto made his way to a well-known weapons shop in the village, one run by Tenten's father. As he stepped inside, the scent of oiled steel and polished wood filled the air. The walls were lined with kunai, shuriken, and various types of weapons, neatly arranged and well-maintained. Tenten, who was busy organizing a shelf, glanced over and immediately brightened. Naruto, what brings you here? I am guessing you want a sword? Naruto gave her a slight nod of acknowledgement. Tenten grinned knowingly. Figured as much. Any specific type? Naruto's answer was simple yet firm. The highest quality possible. It should be durable. Other than that, I don't care. Tenten raised an eyebrow, impressed by his lack of concern for aesthetics or special features. She disappeared into the back of the shop and soon returned with her father, a burly man with sharp eyes and an air of experience. He studied Naruto for a moment before speaking. You're looking for a high-quality blade, huh? You're not the type to settle for anything less. Naruto nodded. I need something reliable. Tenten's father stroked his chin. I have a contact in the land of iron. The best blacksmiths in the world are there. If you want a truly exceptional sword, that's where we'll have to get it from. Naruto considered it briefly before nodding. That will do. The older man smiled. Good. I'll place the order, but quality like that isn't cheap. Without hesitation, Naruto reached into his pouch and pulled out a portion of his savings. He handed it over. A down payment. Tenten's father accepted it, a glimmer of approval in his eyes. Smart. Once the sword is ready, I'll let you know. Tenten watched the exchange with quiet interest. Most shinobi her age didn't care much about weapons beyond basic kunai and shuriken, but Naruto was different. Before Naruto could leave, Tenten hesitated, then spoke up. Hey Naruto, you ever use storage seals? Naruto glanced at her. No. Tenten's eyes lit up. Then you should learn. Carrying all your weapons physically is inefficient. Storing them in a scroll makes everything easier. I can teach you if you're interested. Naruto considered it. He had read about Fuinjutsu in passing, but learning how to properly store and summon items would be useful. I'd appreciate that. Tenten beamed. Great. It's not too hard once you get the basics down. We can start now if you have time. Naruto nodded, and she quickly grabbed a blank scroll and ink. She started explaining the fundamentals, drawing out a simple storage seal and showing him how to channel chakra into it. Naruto, always a quick learner, picked it up with ease, and within minutes, he successfully stored and retrieved a kunai from the scroll. Tenten whistled in approval. Damn, you learn fast. Naruto simply rolled up the scroll, tucking it away. It's a useful skill. Tenten smirked. You're going to get hooked on Fuinjutsu, just watch. Once you see what advanced seals can do, you'll never go back. Naruto didn't respond, but he silently acknowledged her words. Efficiency was key, and if Fuinjutsu could enhance his effectiveness, then it was worth mastering. With his business concluded, he gave Tenten a respectful nod and exited the shop, already thinking about how to incorporate storage seals into his training. Chapter 12: The Hoes Are Watching. The sun hung high over Training Ground 7, casting long shadows as Naruto and Sasuke faced each other, standing a few meters apart in the sparring circle. The air was thick with tension, not just from the impending clash but from the gathering of spectators. Whispers and giggles filled the air. Oh my god, look at them! Uchiha-sama is so cool. Naruto-sama looks so elegant when he moves. Who's gonna win? From the sidelines, a small crowd of kunoichi in training had gathered, eyes sparkling as they fawned over the two strongest genin in the village. The attention was unavoidable, two prodigies clashing in a test of skill? This was peak entertainment. Kakashi, meanwhile, was reading Ika Ika Paradise, barely acknowledging the scene. He turned a page lazily. Ah, youth. Rivalries, drama, and of course, the audience. The combatants ignored the commentary. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Ready to lose? Naruto adjusted his stance, lifting his hands in the traditional gentle fist position. However, his Byakugan remained inactive. Sasuke noticed immediately. His eyebrow twitched. What the hell do you think you're doing? Naruto blinked. What? You're not even using your Byakugan. Yeah. Sasuke scowled. Are you underestimating me? Naruto sighed. Sasuke, you haven't awakened your Sharingan yet. If I used my Byakugan, it wouldn't be fair. Sasuke's aura flickered for a moment. His confident presence, once filled with pride, seemed to shrink. Fair? The whispers from the kunoichi turned into scattered gasps. Did he just say it wouldn't be fair? Uchiha-sama's aura is fading. Not the aura loss. Sasuke's teeth clenched. You bastard. Naruto just shrugged. Sasuke snapped. Enough. He launched forward with impressive speed, aiming a sharp kick for Naruto's ribs. Naruto smoothly pivoted, deflecting the attack with minimal effort. Sasuke twisted, aiming a punch for his jaw, but Naruto sidestepped with the grace of a seasoned warrior, flicking his wrist to tap Sasuke's exposed forearm. A jolt of chakra pulsed through Sasuke's limb, numbing it slightly. Sasuke growled. Damn gentle fist. He flipped back, creating distance. His hands blurred through seals. Katon, Gokakyu no Jutsu. A massive fireball roared toward Naruto, heat waves rippling through the air. The kunoichi in the crowd let out dramatic gasps. Kaya! Sasuke-sama is so strong! That fireball is huge. Naruto didn't move. He simply lifted his hand, then, at the last possible moment, he vanished with a blur of speed. The fireball exploded into the ground, leaving behind scorched dirt. But Naruto was already behind Sasuke. Sasuke's instincts screamed at him, but before he could react. Tap. A soft poke to the lower back. Sasuke's entire body stiffened. Naruto's voice was calm. That's your kidney, by the way. The kunoichi let out a mixture of gasps and delighted squeals. He touched him. Naruto-sama is too fast. Uchiha-sama got outplayed. Sasuke's pride took another hit. He spun, trying to sweep Naruto's legs, but Naruto simply jumped, flipping over him. He landed effortlessly, like he hadn't even exerted himself. Sasuke panted slightly. His mind raced. Naruto wasn't even trying. The realization made his stomach churn. Naruto tilted his head. You done? Sasuke grit his teeth. He reached into his pouch, flinging multiple shuriken in a curved arc while simultaneously unraveling ninja wire. With a flick of his fingers, the wires tightened, ready to ensnare Naruto mid-dodge. But Naruto just stood there. The shuriken whizzed toward him, only for his hands to move in an elegant blur. With precise, controlled movements, he plucked the wires, caught each shuriken from the air, catching them between his fingers. Silence. The crowd went wild. Did you see that? He caught them all. Naruto-sama is insane. Sasuke stared. Naruto glanced at the shuriken in his hand before casually tossing them aside. Sasuke, do you really want to keep going? I would hate to see you disappoint the hoes even more. Sasuke clenched his fists. His frustration boiled over, but deep down, he knew it. The gap between them was too vast. His aura flickered again, this time, barely visible. The kunoichi murmured in horror. His aura, it's gone. Uchiha-sama lost his shine. Sasuke dropped his stance, his shoulders stiff with tension. TCH. Without another word, he turned on his heel and walked away. The kunoichi gasped again. Wait, he left? He just walked away. Uchiha-sama, Come back. Naruto watched him go, exhaling slightly. That could have gone better. Sakura frowned. You really didn't have to say it wasn't fair. Naruto shrugged. It wasn't. Kakashi, still reading his book, hummed. Well, that was entertaining. Naruto turned toward him. You're supposed to be training us. Kakashi lazily turned a page. Oh, I was. The lesson? Don't let emotions cloud your fighting ability. I think Sasuke learned something valuable today. Naruto sighed. The kunoichi dispersed, still buzzing over the match. And Sasuke, well, somewhere in the distance, an Uchiha boy was probably rethinking his entire life. A few days later, under the pale glow of the crescent moon, Hinata was training alone once again in the Hyuga training grounds. She moved through her stances with quiet determination, her Byakugan active as she struck at the air. The cold night air nipped at her skin, but she paid no mind to it, focused solely on perfecting her technique. Unbeknownst to her, a figure had been watching from the shadows. You'll never progress if you keep making the same mistakes, Naruto's voice cut through the silence. Hinata gasped, her Byakugan deactivating as she turned to see him step forward, arms folded across his chest. And Naruto Nizin, she greeted with a small bow. He didn't return the greeting, his expression remaining unreadable. Show me your stance, he ordered instead. Hinata hesitated for only a moment before obeying, taking position once more. Naruto observed her with a critical eye before speaking. You've been trying to refine 8 trigrams 32 palms, he stated rather than asked. Hinata nodded. Then we'll make sure you get it right, he said simply. Prepare yourself. And so, the training began. Naruto demonstrated the technique first, his movements so precise and fluid that Hinata could barely follow them. His every step, every strike, was delivered with absolute confidence, his form flawless. Hinata gulped before attempting to mimic his stance. Your footing is weak, Naruto noted immediately. Again. She corrected herself and tried again, this time focusing on the stability of her legs. Your strikes are too hesitant. If you don't commit, it's useless, he continued. Hinata nodded, adjusting. She repeated the technique again and again, each time with Naruto's sharp corrections guiding her. Whenever she faltered, he would tap the offending limb lightly, a silent command to fix it. The night stretched on, and Hinata pushed herself harder than she ever had before. She refused to fail, not when Naruto Nizin had taken the time to train her. After an hour, she finally completed the full 32 palm sequence without a single misstep. Naruto studied her quietly before giving a small nod of approval. Acceptable. Hinata, panting, beamed at the rare praise. Keep practicing, Naruto said as he turned to leave. You'll need it. The next night. The following night, Naruto returned. This time, his gaze was more calculating as he watched Hinata train. You need something that's yours, he said suddenly. Hinata looked up at him in surprise. But the gentle fist style isn't enough, Naruto interrupted. If you only rely on existing techniques, you'll never surpass those who came before you. Hinata's breath hitched. Could she really create something of her own? Naruto didn't wait for an answer. Instead, he moved to the center of the training ground and, without warning, demonstrated one of his own original techniques. Hinata could barely comprehend what she was witnessing. The sheer control, the mastery, it left her in awe. That's the level you should strive for, Naruto said as he finished. Hinata clenched her fists. She wanted that strength. For the next few hours, they worked together. Naruto guided her in understanding chakra manipulation on a deeper level, pushing her to think beyond what she had been taught. Hinata focused on her chakra flow, channeling it to her hands, expelling it like in gentle fist, but shaping it differently. At first, the chakra flickered unstable. The next attempts were slightly better, but still lacked form. Your control is too rigid, Naruto observed. Don't force it. Let your chakra flow naturally, then mold it. Hinata inhaled deeply, adjusting her stance. She activated her Byakugan, visualizing the shape she wanted. She expelled her chakra once more, this time, instead of raw energy, 2 translucent blue lion heads formed around her fists. They flickered slightly but held their shape. Naruto's eyes sharpened. Interesting. Hinata stared in amazement. The chakra felt alive, responding to her every movement. But one final test remained. Hit me with it, Naruto instructed. Hinata's eyes widened. But Naruto Nizan. You won't know how strong it is until you use it in battle, he stated. Come. She hesitated only for a moment before nodding, determination settling in her heart. She sank into her stance, the glowing lion heads around her fists roaring with ethereal energy. Hinata dashed forward, striking toward Naruto's chest. With ease, Naruto shifted his weight, avoiding the attack entirely. The sheer speed at which he moved was overwhelming. Faster, he commanded. Hinata pushed herself harder, increasing her speed and striking again. This time, Naruto blocked, but as her lion-clad fist made contact with his palm, a strange sensation rippled through him. His chakra flickered for a split second. Naruto's eyes narrowed. So it drains chakra on contact, huh? He smirked slightly. Not bad. Hinata continued her assault, launching into a rapid 8 trigrams 32 palm sequence, integrating her new technique into each strike. Naruto dodged most of them, but he allowed a few to land, testing the chakra-draining effect. The moment her lion-clad hands connected with his arm, he could feel the pull on his network. If this were a real battle, such an ability could be devastating. But in the next instant, Naruto countered. He moved behind her in a flash, lightly tapping the back of her neck with his fingers, signaling the match's end. Hinata froze, realizing she had been completely outmaneuvered. You're still too slow, Naruto said, stepping back. But this technique, it has potential. Hinata panted, exhilarated despite her defeat. She looked down at her hands, the chakra lion still lingering for a few seconds before dissipating. A proud smile graced her lips. For the first time, she had created something truly her own. Chapter 14: Breaking Tradition and Forging New Paths. Beneath the silver moonlight, the Hyuga compound was quiet, except for the soft echoes of battle ringing from the training grounds. Hayashi Hyuga stood in the shadows of a veranda, his sharp lavender eyes silently observing his children. A rare, proud smirk tugged at his lips. Despite his cold demeanor, he did love them, both of them. You'll get wrinkles if you keep smiling like that, dear. Hayashi's expression immediately hardened, his smirk vanishing as he turned to see Hitomi standing behind him, her arms crossed and a teasing glint in her eyes. I was not smiling, Hayashi stated, voice composed. Hitomi chuckled, stepping beside him. Of course not. The mighty Hayashi Hyuga, ever so unreadable. She turned her gaze back to the training ground, watching their children. But I saw it. And I know why. Hayashi remained silent. They're growing, she said softly. And they're growing strong. Hayashi exhaled through his nose. They must be strong. Naruto is our clan's heir. Hinata, he hesitated slightly, has worked hard despite her setbacks. Hitomi glanced at him. You mean despite how you and the clan treat her? He didn't respond, but his silence was enough. Hitomi shook her head with a sigh. You love her, Hayashi. Just like Naruto. You should show it more. Hayashi kept his gaze on his son and daughter, watching as Naruto critiqued Hinata's stance, adjusting her footing before stepping back. The way he trained her, despite his usual cold attitude, was proof enough of his care. They know, he finally said. They don't need to hear it. Hitomi smiled wryly. Stubborn as always. Then, after a moment, she changed the subject. Naruto's skills, they're outgrowing the gentle fist. Hayashi narrowed his eyes slightly. He is refining his own techniques. But is that enough? Hitomi challenged. Naruto is versatile, Hayashi. The clan's traditions are limiting him. Hayashi's lips pressed into a thin line. He already knew where this was going. The elders would never allow it, he stated firmly. Naruto's actions reflect on the clan. Hitomi rolled her eyes before stepping in front of him, her usual warm demeanor vanishing as she fixed him with a piercing glare. Hayashi, she said in a dangerously calm voice, grow a pair. The Hyuga clan head blinked. You are the leader of this clan, she reminded him. Not the elders. If you believe in Naruto's potential, fight for it. Always talking about duty and honor, then honor your role as a father and a clan head. Hayashi held her gaze for a long moment before exhaling slowly. You're insufferable. Hitomi smirked. And you love me for it. The next day, the Hyuga clan elders gathered in the council chamber. The room was silent yet heavy with the presence of generations of tradition. At the head of the table sat Hayashi Hyuga. Standing beside him was Naruto, his arms folded, his expression as unreadable as his father's. Hayashi began without preamble. I am done having the Hyuga limit their potential. The elders stiffened, their expressions darkening. His father, an elderly yet imposing figure, furrowed his brow. What do you mean by that, Hayashi? Hayashi met his gaze evenly. For generations, our clan has clung to tradition, restricting ourselves to taijutsu alone. While Gentle Fist is our pride, we lack versatility. The chamber filled with murmurs, some of disbelief, others of outrage. This is sacrilege, one elder barked. Are you suggesting we abandon the Gentle Fist? No, Hayashi said sharply. I am saying we must evolve. Our style is formidable, but we cannot deny that compared to others, we have failed to adapt. Naruto stepped forward, his voice cold yet respectful. Hayashi-sama is correct. If we refuse to grow, we will never stand on equal ground with the strongest shinobi. He glanced around the room before asking, Tell me, could a Hyuga match the likes of Kakashi Hatake? The legendary Sannin? The Hokage? Or any ninja of their caliber? A deafening silence followed. The elders could not answer. Hayashi pressed forward. The shinobi Naruto mentioned, what makes them formidable isn't just their unique abilities. It's their versatility. Their adaptability. The elders exchanged uncertain looks, their rigid beliefs shaken. Eventually, Hayashi's father sighed. And what do you propose? That the Hyuga are free to pursue skills outside of taijutsu, Hayashi declared. And that Naruto will be the first to do so, starting with the blade. Despite continued grumbling, no elder could refute Hayashi's logic. Reluctantly, they conceded. And so, the Hyuga were given a new path forward. A week later, Naruto entered a weapon shop, inspecting the gleaming sword before him. Tenten stood beside him, watching as he paid the final installment. So, are you gonna try it again? She asked, referring to his previous attempt at transforming a blade. Naruto nodded. Tenten's father raised a brow. Try what again? Tenten turned to Naruto expectantly. Naruto set the sword down. Last time, I attempted to imprint my soul onto Tenten's katana. Both Tenten and her father froze. You imprinted your soul on a weapon? Her father repeated, incredulous. Naruto nodded. It succeeded. The katana transformed. Tenten's father exchanged glances with his daughter before muttering, That's unconventional. Naruto continued, however, when I tried to wield its power, the blade broke. That's why I requested a high-quality, durable sword. Tenten's father studied him for a moment before sighing. I've heard of ninja imbuing weapons with chakra, but imprinting one's soul, the only known sentient weapon in the world is Samahata, and even that is unique. Tenten shuddered. Samahata literally eats chakra, though. You're trying to become one with the weapon? Naruto nodded. After sealing the blade into a scroll, he gave a curt farewell. Thank you? Once he was gone, Tenten's father exhaled. That boy is either a genius or insane. Tenten smirked. Knowing Naruto? Probably both. Day by day, Naruto meditated with his blade, attempting to forge a deeper connection. The Hyuga clan members watched him strangely, some whispering among themselves. Niji, standing nearby, narrowed his eyes. He's trying to transform a sword again. Naruto remained still, his mind focused solely on the weapon in his hands. This time, he would succeed. Chapter 15: The Blooming Blade and the Road to Waves. Naruto's Inner World. Naruto sat beneath the massive cherry blossom tree at the center of his mindscape, its petals falling in an endless, gentle snowfall. The garden around him was pristine and serene, artfully sculpted bonsai trees and elegant shrubbery formations surrounded him. Despite its beauty, there was a chilling undercurrent in this place, a reflection of Naruto's own personality. In the background, behind a set of colossal bars, the Nine-Tails stirred. Its malicious red eyes glowed in the light, its massive form coiled in the shadows. But the great beast received no acknowledgement from its jailer. Naruto remained indifferent to the fox's presence, his cold, dispassionate eyes focused solely on Senbonzakura, who stood before him. Why do you ignore me, boy? The fox rumbled, its deep voice laced with irritation. Naruto didn't respond. He continued his silent connection with Senbonzakura, their bond deepening as they refined their understanding of each other. The Nine-Tails clicked its tongue in irritation before shifting its focus to the sword's spirit. And you, it sneered, its massive tails flicking in annoyance. You pretend to be different, but you're just another tool, another chain. You think you are special? Senbenzakura remained composed, unmoved by the fox's taunts. A beast in a cage should be careful of how loudly it growls, he replied coolly. Naruto's lips quirked up slightly at the remark. The fox growled, teeth bared in annoyance, but as always, its jailer showed no interest in engaging with it. The Land of Waves mission. Team 8 stood in Hiruzen's office, standing before their client, Tazuna, the bridge builder. The old man scrutinized them, squinting in displeasure. What the hell is this? He grumbled. I paid for a real team of ninja, not a bunch of kids. Kiba bristled, but before he could snap back, the door creaked open, and in walked Team 7. Hiruzen smirked behind his hands, his aged eyes twinkling with amusement. Then perhaps it would ease your worries if I assigned Team 7 as well? Tazuna blinked. Ha! I'm getting 2 teams? Well, I guess that's fine, as long as you brats don't slow me down. Sasuke scoffed at the insult, while Sakura forced a polite smile. Naruto, however, said nothing, his face impassive. Hiruzen nodded. Then it settled. The teams were dismissed to prepare for their journey. As Naruto returned home to gather his things, Hayashi summoned him to his private study. The Hyuga clan head sat behind his desk, his sharp eyes fixed on Naruto. His face was unreadable, but his next words carried weight. Do your best to protect Hinata, Naruto. Naruto stood firm, his cold gaze meeting his father's. I swear on my life, father. Unbeknownst to both, Hinata had been standing outside the room, eavesdropping. Her eyes widened, her heart fluttering. To hear Naruto say such words, to hear him vow to protect her with his life, it filled her with warmth. A soft pink dusted her cheeks, and she quickly hurried away before she was caught. The next morning, both teams and Tazuna met at the village gates. Kiba stretched, grinning widely. All right. Time to show you two up. He pointed at both Naruto and Sasuke. Both boys replied in perfect sync without looking at him, their voices completely deadpan. In your dreams? Kiba scowled. We'll see about that. Tazuna sighed. This is gonna be a long trip. As they traveled, the group passed a puddle along the road. Naruto's eyes flicked to it for a split second. Strange. It hadn't rained in days. Others noticed too, Kakashi, Kurenai, Kiba and Akamaru, due to their sense of smell, and Shino, whose insects buzzed in warning. A second later, 2 figures erupted from the puddle, the demon brothers. Their retractable shuriken chain launched forward, aimed directly for Kakashi, its metallic gleam threatening to entangle and tear him apart. Before anyone else could react, Naruto stepped forward. With a clean slash, his blade severed the chain, sending sparks flying. The severed ends clattered uselessly to the ground, shocking the demon brothers, who leaped back to reassess their opponent. Kiba's fist clenched, his teeth grinding audibly. Sasuke's scowl deepened, his pride bruised yet again. The two had been eager for the opportunity to show off their skills, but once more, Naruto had stolen the spotlight. Naruto stepped forward, his cold, composed demeanor unshaken. His sharp gaze locked onto the demon brothers. Surrender now, he said, his tone calm yet authoritative, or be cut down where you stand. The demon brothers exchanged glances, then smirked beneath their masks. Surrender? One of them sneered. Not in our vocabulary. Before Naruto could act, Kiba and Sasuke stepped in front of him, their frustration boiling over. Stand back, Naruto. Kiba's voice was tense, Akamaru growling on his head. We've got this. Sasuke smirked, his one Tomo Sharingan flashing to life. Yeah. You've already had your moment. Flashback awakening the Sharingan. During training, Kakashi had pulled Sasuke aside. Do you know how the Sharingan awakens? The Jonin had asked. Sasuke nodded grimly. Trauma. Kakashi's visible eye softened. You've already been through a tough ordeal. Sasuke's breath itched slightly. He understood the implication. Kakashi advised. Concentrate your chakra into your eyes. Sasuke closed his eyes, focusing intensely. His chakra swirled, condensed. When he opened them again, one Tomo glowed in each iris. Kakashi smiled. Good. Back to the present. Naruto didn't argue. With a composed nod, he stepped back and returned to Hinata's side. Do as you wish, he said curtly, his tone carrying no hint of interest. As the two boys squared off against the demon brothers, Shino adjusted his glasses, his quiet voice breaking the tension among the others. They're doing it again. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Doing what? Shino glanced at Sasuke and Kiba as they lunged into the fight, his tone analytical. Trying to prove they're better than Naruto. It's a recurring pattern. Every time they try, they fail. Kurenai folded her arms, smirking. Boys and their pride, she mused. It's all about proving themselves, isn't it? Kakashi chuckled, his lone eye twinkling. Competition isn't bad. It pushes them to grow, even if it gets messy. Hinata stood quietly beside Naruto, stealing a glance at him. His expression never wavered, as if the fight before him was completely irrelevant. Her lips curled into a small, affectionate smile. Nezen is the best, she thought, a soft giggle escaping her. You kids think you can handle us? Meizu taunted, his voice dripping with arrogance. We'll do more than handle you, Sasuke shot back, his Sharingan glowing with excitement. Kiba crouched low, activating his four legs technique, his feral features becoming more pronounced. Akamaru barked and growled, leaping from Kiba's shoulder and transforming into a perfect copy of him with a puff of smoke. Now there were two Kibas, their claws gleaming in the dim light of the forest. Let's roll, Kiba. Without warning, Gozu and Meizu attacked, closing the distance with startling speed. Their gauntlet claws lashed out, slashing through the air toward Kiba and Sasuke. Sasuke sidestepped the strike with ease, his Sharingan predicting the trajectory of Gozu's attack. Kiba and his clone, meanwhile, split apart, moving at high speed to evade Meizu's incoming slash. The battlefield erupted into chaos as the fight unfolded. Sasuke retaliated with a series of shuriken, each one aimed with pinpoint accuracy at Gozu. The demon brother deflected the projectiles with his gauntlet claws, the metal clinking with each strike. Seizing the moment, Sasuke closed the distance, weaving around Gozu's defenses with a swift combination of taijutsu strikes. Meanwhile, Kiba and Akamaru launched their attack on Meizu. Using their passing Fang, the two Kibas spun into twin drills of feral energy, tearing through the ground as they homed in on their target. Meizu jumped back, his gauntlet claws raised defensively. The twin drills slammed into his position, forcing him to block. The impact sent him skidding back several feet, his boots digging into the dirt. You little brats hit hard, Meizu muttered, shaking his arm to dull the sting of the attack. Kiba grinned, baring his elongated canines. That's just the start. Akamaru, let's go! The two Kibas charged again, one from the front and the other circling around to flank. Meizu scowled, realizing he couldn't track both of them at once. Just as the real Kiba lunged forward, Meizu lashed out with his gauntlet claws, aiming for a lethal blow. But Kiba ducked low, sliding under the attack and clawing at Meizu's legs. The demon brother stumbled, leaving himself open to an attack from behind. Akamaru leapt onto Meizu's back, sinking his claws into the man's shoulder. Meizu let out a growl of pain and spun wildly, trying to shake the Nikken off. At the same time, Sasuke pressed his assault on Gozu. He unleashed a fire release, fireball jutsu, the massive ball of flames roaring toward his opponent. Gozu leapt into the air, narrowly avoiding the inferno as it scorched the ground beneath him. You missed, Gozu sneered, but Sasuke smirked in response. From the shadows of the trees, thin ninja wires glinted in the faint light. Sasuke tugged, and the wires snapped taut, wrapping around Gozu midair. Before the demon brother could react, Sasuke yanked him down, slamming him into the ground with a loud thud. Not bad, Sasuke, Kiba called out as he and Akamaru forced Meizu back with another coordinated attack. I don't need your approval, Sasuke replied coldly, already preparing his next move. Gozu and Meizu regrouped, their movements becoming more frantic as they realized they were being outmaneuvered. Gozu formed hand seals, and the water clone jutsu created two copies of himself, each one rushing at Sasuke. The original stayed back, readying another attack. Meizu, now desperate, created his own water clone, sending it after Kiba while he kept Akamaru occupied. Kiba dodged the clone's strikes with ease, his heightened speed allowing him to weave through the attacks like a blur. Sasuke, meanwhile, made quick work of Gozu's clones. His Sharingan predicted their every move, and his kunai flashed as he dismantled them one by one. The last clone dissolved into water as Sasuke leapt into the air, hurling a demon wind shuriken toward the real Gozu. The large, spinning weapon cut through the air, forcing Gozu to dodge at the last second. Kiba saw his opening as Meizu stumbled, distracted by Akamaru's relentless attacks. Now, Akamaru! He shouted. The Nikken leapt onto Kiba's shoulder. Together, they launched another Fang passing Fang, their spinning forms colliding with Meizu head-on. The impact sent the demon brother crashing into a nearby tree, where he slumped to the ground, unconscious. Sasuke, not to be outdone, closed the distance with Gozu in a blur of speed. The demon brother tried to lash out with his gauntlet claws, but Sasuke was too fast. With a swift strike, Sasuke disarmed him, the gauntlet flying off his hand. Before Gozu could react, Sasuke delivered a powerful kick to his chest, sending him sprawling to the ground beside his partner. The battle ended as quickly as it had begun. Gozu and Meizu lay unconscious, their bodies battered and bruised. Sasuke and Kiba stood victorious, both of them breathing heavily but unharmed. Not bad, Kiba muttered, glancing at Sasuke. You were barely keeping up, Sasuke replied, though there was no malice in his tone. From the sidelines, Kakashi and Kurenai stepped forward, both of them visibly impressed. Naruto stood next to Hinata, his expression unreadable as he observed the aftermath. The fight was over, but the journey to the Land of Waves was far from finished. Chapter 17. With the demon brothers defeated and restrained, Kakashi and Kurenai tied them to a nearby tree using ninja wire. The Konoha Jonin examined their prisoners while the genin gathered nearby, their energy still buzzing from the battle. Kiba crossed his arms, Akamaru perched proudly on his head. He shot Naruto a smug grin. See that, Naruto? That's how it's done. Sasuke, equally pleased with himself, glanced at Naruto with a faint smirk. Not bad for a couple of lesser fighters, huh? Naruto, standing with his usual calm demeanor, responded with a rare chuckle. It was a quiet, almost mocking sound that immediately made Kiba and Sasuke's brows twitch in irritation. That was impressive, Naruto said, his tone carrying an edge of sarcasm. Really, it was. But if it were me, I'd have finished that fight in under a minute. His words were delivered with perfect composure, his expression respectful yet clearly mocking. Kiba and Sasuke's faces turned dark as they both glared at Naruto, their egos bruised. Their glaring contest was interrupted by a soft chuckle from Kurenai. She smiled at the genin, shaking her head. Boys and their pride, she muttered, earning a nod of agreement from Kakashi, who smiled beneath his mask. Hinata giggled quietly from her spot next to Naruto, while Shino remained silent, though there was a faint upward curve to his lips. The light-hearted moment didn't last long. Kakashi's demeanor shifted, his expression turning serious as he walked over to Tazuna. Tazuna-san, Kakashi began, his voice firm, why were the demon brothers targeting you? Don't tell me it was a coincidence. Tazuna scratched the back of his head nervously, avoiding Kakashi's sharp gaze. Maybe they were after one of you, he suggested weakly. Kakashi's eye narrowed, the weight of his gaze making Tazuna fidget. Don't lie to us, Tazuna-san. If you're not honest, this mission ends here. We'll return to Konoha, and you'll have to find someone else to escort you. The old man froze under Kakashi's scrutiny. He tried to hold out for a moment longer but eventually sighed in defeat. All right. I'll tell you everything. He explained Gato's tyranny over the Land of Waves, how the tyrant had exploited the people and left them impoverished. Tazuna spoke of how Gato is sending mercenaries and assassins after him because of his efforts to construct a bridge, a lifeline that could break Gato's stranglehold on the region. As Tazuna spoke, the faces of the Konoha shinobi darkened. Even Naruto's usually cold expression flickered with a trace of anger. When Tazuna finished, Kakashi looked at his team and Kurenai. Well, this is more than a C-rank mission, he said. But it's up to you guys, whether we continue or not. Kurenai nodded. We can handle it. She glanced at her genin. What do you think? Kiba and Akamaru growled, their shared energy clearly itching for more action. Hinata hesitated but nodded firmly. Shino adjusted his glasses and gave a quiet affirmative. Sasuke's expression hardened. We're not turning back. Naruto gave a small nod, his tone steady. Let's continue. We won't fail. With the group in agreement, they resumed their journey. As they entered the Land of Waves, the oppressive atmosphere immediately settled over them. The mist hung heavy in the air, thick and unnatural. It was suffocating, like a silent reminder of the despair plaguing the land. Kiba wrinkled his nose, his heightened sense of smell immediately picking up on the foreign nature of the mist. This isn't normal, he muttered, Akamaru growling in agreement. Shino adjusted his glasses. It's artificial. Ninjutsu. Naruto's cold voice broke through the group's murmurs. There are 4 enemy ninja nearby. His sharp gaze scanned the area, his hand resting on the hilt of his blade. Kurenai confirmed this. Kakashi glanced at everyone, nodding slightly before whispering, "Stay alert, everyone." The tension snapped like a taut string as a massive blade flew through the air toward them. It spun at incredible speed, aiming to cleave through anything in its path. Naruto stepped forward, his movements calm and deliberate. With one hand, he caught the blade midair, the weight and momentum seemingly effortless for him to stop. A figure materialized before Naruto, his voice low and dangerous. "I'll be taking that back," the man said, his gaze fixed on the massive blade. Naruto inclined his head politely, and handed the blade back to the man, shocking everyone with his nonchalant compliance. The man smirked as he took his weapon, jumping back and placing it on his shoulder. His presence was menacing, his posture relaxed yet radiating danger. Kakashi stepped forward, his lone visible eye narrowing. Well, if it isn't Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the hidden mist," he said, his voice laced with tension as he lifted his headband to reveal his Sharingan. Sasuke's eyes widened. Why does he have the Sharingan? Kakashi glanced back at Sasuke. "I know you have questions, Sasuke, but I'll answer them when we're safe." Zabuza chuckled darkly. "The copy ninja, Kakashi Hatake. What an honor." He twirled his massive blade. "You know, we don't have to fight. Just hand over the old man, and I'll be on my way." "Not happening," Kakashi replied, his tone resolute. Zabuza's smirk widened. "Then I guess I'll have to kill you all." Before he could act, another figure emerged from the mist, his presence equally sinister. He wielded the dual Kiba blades, electricity crackling faintly along their edges. His expression was twisted, a cruel smirk playing on his lips. "Raiga Kurasuki," Kurenai murmured, her expression hardening. Raiga's voice was low and cold as he glared at the group. "I don't like fighting women and children. Switch with me, Zabuza." Zabuza scoffed. "Not a chance. Handle the woman and the kids, the copy ninja is mine." Raiga grumbled, crossing his Kiba blades as his smirk grew more deranged. "Fine. Either way, I'm getting paid. Might as well start planning your funerals now." The atmosphere grew heavier as Raiga's cruel laughter echoed through the mist, and the battle loomed ahead. Chapter 18: Raiga vs. Kurenai. Kakashi and Zabuza disappeared into the mist, their movements quick and deliberate as they headed deeper into the forest to battle. Meanwhile, Kurenai was left behind with the genin of Team 7 and Team 8 to face the notorious Raiga Kurasuki. The mist thickened, heavy and unnatural, pressing down on them like an ominous shroud. The tension was thick. Kurenai's sharp eyes focused on Raiga, whose cruel smirk widened as he casually twirled the Kiba blades in his hands. The lightning crackling along their edges cast eerie, fleeting shadows on his face. "Stay back and protect Tazuna," Kurenai ordered, her tone firm yet calm. Her words left no room for debate. Naruto instinctively shifted to Hinata's side, his gaze sweeping their surroundings. He was keenly aware of the two hidden presences that still lingered, his instincts sharp and honed. The promise he'd made to Hayashi echoed in his mind, protect her. He stood slightly ahead of her, his body tense like a drawn bowstring. The rest of the genin quickly formed a protective ring around Tazuna, their focus split between the threat in front of them and the unknown dangers the mist concealed. Raiga chuckled darkly, his voice laced with mockery. "Kakashi left you to babysit a bunch of kids? This'll be a short fight." He spun his swords once more, the crackling lightning growing louder. Kurenai didn't respond to his taunts. Instead, her hands formed a quick series of seals. A second later, the surrounding mist seemed to shimmer unnaturally as her genjutsu activated. Trees erupted from the ground, their branches twisting and snaking toward Raiga to ensnare him. Raiga didn't flinch. He smirked and slammed the Kiba blades into the ground, unleashing a wave of lightning that surged outward and shattered the illusion. Sparks danced around him as he straightened up, looking unimpressed. "Genjutsu, huh? You'll have to do better than that." Raiga darted forward, his speed incredible. Kurenai anticipated his move. She leapt back gracefully, weaving another genjutsu midair. This time, the landscape shifted entirely, morphing into a desolate graveyard. Dozens of graves sprouted from the earth, surrounding Raiga, and from them, ghostly figures began to rise, their mournful wails filling the air. For a moment, Raiga hesitated, his expression hardening as he took in the eerie scene. But instead of panicking, he let out a deranged laugh. "A graveyard? Oh, I love funerals." With a burst of chakra, Raiga dispelled the genjutsu with sheer force, the graveyard dissolving into nothingness. He raised the Kiba blades high above his head, calling down a bolt of lightning that struck the ground near Kurenai. She barely evaded it, flipping backward as the earth exploded where she'd been standing. Raiga didn't let up. He was relentless, closing the distance between them with frightening speed. His twin blades crackled with electricity as he swung them in a deadly arc. Kurenai managed to dodge his initial strike. The second blade came at her from the opposite side, and she barely ducked in time to avoid a lethal strike. Lightning surged around Raiga as he laughed maniacally. "What's wrong, Kunoichi? Having trouble keeping up?" Kurenai gritted her teeth, maintaining her focus. She formed another string of seals and unleashed a genjutsu that made it appear as though dozens of her clones had surrounded Raiga. Each one moved independently, attacking from different angles. Raiga snarled, swinging his blades wildly to dispel the illusions. Lightning shot out in all directions, tearing through the clones one by one. His frustration mounted, but he finally located the real Kurenai amidst the chaos. With a powerful leap, he closed the gap between them and unleashed a flurry of strikes. Kurenai fought valiantly, dodging and countering where she could. She used her kunai and precise movements to redirect his attacks, but Raiga's strength and speed were overwhelming. He was a force of nature, each strike more ferocious than the last. A particularly powerful swing of his blade sent her flying back, her back slamming into a tree. She winced, feeling the impact reverberate through her body. Raiga didn't give her a moment to recover. He charged forward, slashing at her with ruthless intent. Kurenai managed to evade the killing blow, but the blade grazed her side, leaving a shallow cut that sizzled with residual electricity. Her breathing grew heavier, but she refused to back down. She attempted one final genjutsu, this time targeting Raiga's mind directly. The world around him darkened, and the sensation of being buried alive consumed him. He stumbled slightly, his movements faltering for the first time. But Raiga's willpower and raw power proved too much. With a guttural roar, he shattered the illusion and glared at Kurenai with murderous intent. "Enough of these games." He raised the Kiba blades once more, calling down a massive bolt of lightning. The crackling energy surged around him as he prepared to end the fight. Kurenai stood her ground, her body battered but her resolve unshaken. She watched as Raiga's blades glowed brighter, the lightning growing more intense. Her thoughts raced as she prepared for what might be her final stand. Raiga grinned wickedly, his voice dripping with malice. "Time for your funeral, Kunoichi." The chapter ends with Raiga poised to strike, the lightning around him casting an ominous glow in the misty forest. Raiga unleashed his thunderous attack, lightning cascading from his Kiba blades as it hurtled toward Kurenai. The air crackled with raw energy, and the ground shook as the strike closed in. Kurenai stood frozen, preparing herself for the impact she could not evade. "Kurenai-sensei, no!" Kiba's voice rang out in desperation, his hand gripping Akamaru's fur as if to ground himself. Shino's usually calm face tightened with worry, and even Sasuke, who often masked his emotions, looked tense. Sakura clutched her chest, eyes wide in fear, while Tazuna stood rooted to the spot, utterly petrified. Naruto, however, was gone from his spot. When the dust from the attack finally settled, everyone's eyes widened in shock. Standing in the aftermath, completely unscathed, was Naruto. His arm was wrapped protectively around Kurenai, while his other arm was extended outward, radiating a soft, white aura that seemed to repel the destructive energy. Kurenai blinked, startled not only by the sudden rescue but also by the protective warmth of Naruto's hold. A faint blush crept across her cheeks as she registered the closeness. Naruto gently let her go, stepping back with an air of unshakable composure. "Lady Kurenai," he said politely, his voice calm yet firm, "step back. This is no longer your fight." Kurenai, shaken but composed, nodded. She took a few steps back, still watching him with an unreadable expression. As she moved to the others, a memory flickered in her mind, of their first meeting. Now, standing among the others, Kurenai realized the boy might not be as cold as he portrayed himself to be. Kiba, still tense from the fight, grit his teeth. Relief that Kurenai was safe clashed with his frustration. "Does he always have to show us up like that?" he muttered under his breath. Sasuke, on the other hand, remained silent, but his clenched fists and narrowed eyes betrayed his irritation. Kiba and Sasuke pushed their feelings of jealousy aside and stepped up ready to battle Raiga. "Stand back," Naruto instructed without looking at them. His tone left no room for argument. "What?" Kiba snapped. "Naruto, I know you're strong, but you can't take on this guy alone. The both of us can back you up." "You'll stand back," Naruto said coldly, turning slightly to fix them with a steely gaze. "You will guard Hinata-sama with your lives. If you refuse, I will cut you down myself." His voice was low, but the sheer weight of his words sent chills down their spines. "And if you fail to protect her," his gaze darkened, "I'll cut you down as well." The air grew heavy with the intensity of his declaration. For a moment, neither Kiba nor Sasuke said a word. They could see it in his eyes, Naruto wasn't bluffing. With a resigned growl, Kiba stepped back, glancing at Akamaru, who let out a soft bark of understanding. Sasuke, though visibly irritated, reluctantly nodded and shifted his attention to Hinata, who stood silently, her hands clasped tightly together. Naruto turned back to Raiga, his posture relaxed yet commanding. Raiga tilted his head, amused. "You shouldn't be so eager to march to your grave, boy," he sneered, his Kiba blades crackling with lightning. Naruto's response was as calm as ever. "The one marching to his grave isn't me. It's you." Raiga chuckled darkly. "Confident, aren't we? Let's see how long that lasts." Naruto didn't reply. Instead, he raised his sword and uttered two simple words: "Scatter, Senbonzakura." The sword's blade dissolved, the blade shattering into 1,000 tiny, glowing fragments that hovered in the air around him, leaving only the hilt. The fragments reflected the faint light of the mist, creating the illusion of countless delicate cherry blossoms fluttering in the breeze. Everyone froze, their eyes widening in disbelief. What the hell is that?" Kiba muttered, staring at the display. Sasuke's Sharingan activated instinctively as he tried to analyze the technique. "Are those petals?" he murmured, his voice filled with both confusion and intrigue. Shino's gaze was calm but focused, his mind racing as he observed the shimmering fragments. "Those aren't just for show. They must have some special ability." Hinata, her hands still clasped tightly, whispered a silent prayer. "Please, Anai-san, overcome this safely." Sakura's jaw dropped, her eyes flitting between Naruto and the strange spectacle surrounding him. Tazuna, meanwhile, looked utterly dumbfounded, unable to process what he was seeing. Raiga, on the other hand, burst out laughing. "Cherry blossoms? Is this some kind of joke?" He twirled his Kiba blades, lightning sparking from their tips. "What are those supposed to do to me? My Kiba blades are far superior." Naruto's expression remained serene. "Do not underestimate Senbonzakura's power," he said politely. Within his mind, Senbonzakura's voice resonated, calm yet resolute. "Let us show this fool the true might of my power." Naruto gave a subtle nod of acknowledgement, his grip tightening on the sword's hilt. The fragments began to swirl around him in a mesmerizing display, the air thick with their silent promise of devastation. Raiga's grin widened as he prepared to attack. The battlefield was set, and the true power of Senbonzakura was about to be unleashed. Chapter 20: Clash of the Thunder Swordsman and the Cherry Blossom Blades. The atmosphere was electric, and not just from the residual charge of Raiga's earlier attacks. Everyone stood rooted in place, the tension thick as they watched Naruto calmly face the infamous 7 ninja swordsmen. His Senbonzakura swirled around him, thousands of glowing, petal-like blades reflecting the light of Raiga's crackling Kiba swords. Tazuna and the genin felt a mix of awe and confusion at the sheer beauty of Naruto's weapon. Sasuke's Sharingan tracked the faint traces of the cherry blossom-like blades as they shifted in the air, his brows furrowed in concentration. "What is that?" Sasuke muttered, his pride simmering beneath his curiosity. Kiba growled low, his fists clenched. "Looks fancy, but I don't get it. How's he gonna win with petals?" Akamaru whined softly, nudging Kiba as if urging him to quiet down. Hinata, her Byakugan activated, could only whisper, "Nisan." She clutched her hands tightly, silently praying for his safety. Shino adjusted his glasses. "Those petals aren't just for show. Look closely, Kiba. They're not petals, they're blades." Kurenai's lips parted slightly, her breath caught. The faint shimmer of the countless fragments reminded her of the delicate yet deadly power Naruto wielded. She shook her head, trying to focus. "He saved me, now I can only hope he can save himself." Raiga grinned, licking his lips like a predator about to feast. "Boy, you think you can scare me with a parlor trick? Pretty lights won't save you." He slammed the Kiba blades together, generating a crackle of lightning that shot through the air. The ground trembled beneath his power, his arrogance clear. Naruto remained composed, his gaze steady. "Underestimating Senbonzakura will be your greatest mistake." Raiga laughed, throwing his head back. Big words for someone who hasn't tasted real power yet. With a sudden burst of speed, he lunged forward, swinging the Kiba swords in an arc, aiming to cleave Naruto in half. The others gasped, but Naruto didn't move an inch. The cherry blossom blades surged forward, intercepting Raiga's attack mid-swing. The Kiba swords clashed against the swirling petals, sending sparks flying. Raiga's smirk faltered as the petals pressed against his blades with overwhelming force. "What?" Raiga staggered back, barely avoiding being shredded as the fragments followed his retreat. "Senbonzakura isn't a weapon you can brute force your way through," Naruto said calmly, the handle of his Zanpakuto steady in his hand. With a small motion, the petals swirled around him in a protective barrier, the sheer control mesmerizing his audience. Raiga growled, thrusting one of his Kiba swords toward the sky. We'll see how well your little petals hold up against this. A jagged bolt of lightning shot into the clouds, charging the air above them. Moments later, massive arcs of natural lightning rained down toward Naruto. Watch out! Sakura screamed, her hands clutching Tazuna's arm. The white-pink glow of Senbenzakura shimmered brightly as the petals formed a dome around Naruto, absorbing the force of the lightning strikes. The ground shook, the sound deafening, but when the smoke cleared, Naruto stood unharmed within his protective barrier. Impressive, Raiga admitted begrudgingly, though his grin remained. But let's see if you can keep that up. He swung the Kiba swords with both hands, releasing arcs of lightning that zigzagged across the battlefield, forcing Naruto to leap back with a flicker of Shunpa. To the onlookers, Naruto seemed to disappear, only to reappear a second later behind Raiga, his petals swarming the enemy like a tidal wave. Raiga twisted his body, parrying the petals with his blades, but the force behind the attack sent him skidding backward. He's so fast, Sasuke muttered, his Sharingan barely keeping up with Naruto's movements. His fist clenched as he ground his teeth. Those petals aren't just weapons, Shino noted aloud. They're his shield, his spear, his armor. He's controlling the entire battlefield with them. Raiga growled in frustration. You brat! He thrust the Kiba swords into the ground, releasing a surge of electricity that spread in every direction. The ground beneath Naruto's feet cracked and buckled, forcing him to ascend into the air using Shunpa. Raiga smirked. Got you! He clapped his hands together, summoning a jagged bolt of lightning directly above Naruto's head. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Without hesitation, he raised Senbenzakura's hilt, and the petals surged upward. The lightning bolt met the cherry blossoms midair, exploding in a shower of sparks and fragments. Through the smoke, Raiga charged, swinging his Kiba swords in a wide arc. Naruto deflected the attack with a simple motion of his petals, forcing Raiga back again. For someone who talks so much, you haven't managed to land a single hit, Naruto said, his tone polite but cutting. Raiga's face contorted with rage. He swung both swords, releasing a torrent of combined lightning and water, a deadly combination that surged toward Naruto like a tidal wave. Naruto's petals swirled into a focused formation, forming a dense wall in front of him. The wave crashed against it, sending water and lightning scattering in all directions. Despite the intensity of the attack, the wall of petals held firm. Raiga panted, sweat dripping down his face. Damn brat, how? Naruto lowered the hilt of his Zanpakuto, the petals surrounding him once again in a calm, floating formation. You rely too much on brute force and chaos. You lack discipline, precision, and understanding. That is why you'll lose. Raiga roared, his pride wounded. He raised the Kiba swords above his head, gathering all the natural lightning in the storm clouds above. Let's see if your pretty petals can handle this. The sky darkened as the concentrated lightning turned the clouds into a blinding storm. The sheer power of the attack caused the others to shield their eyes, the pressure suffocating. Naruto's grip on Senbenzakura's hilt tightened. Internally, he heard Senbenzakura's voice. It's time to show him the true terror of my power. Naruto gave a subtle nod, his expression calm as always. Scatter, Senbenzakura. The petals shimmered brightly, preparing for the final clash. The sky rumbled, and lightning streaked through the churning storm clouds above as Raiga gathered his power into a massive, overwhelming force. The sheer intensity of his attack made the air hum with electricity, and the others could only watch helplessly from a distance, their eyes squinting through the blinding light and oppressive pressure. Raiga's manic laughter echoed through the battlefield. You've been a pain in my side long enough, boy. Let's see your pretty petals survive the wrath of the heavens themselves. Naruto's expression remained serene, his grip on Senbenzakura steady as the petals around him multiplied in number, shimmering like a rising tide of light. The thousands of blades swirled faster, creating a vortex of destruction around him. Senbenzakura Naruto's voice was calm, yet it carried an undeniable authority as the petals surged upward to meet Raiga's growing attack. Prepare yourself. Raiga slammed the Kiba swords together, releasing a bolt of lightning that tore through the sky with a deafening crack. The attack hurtled downward like a divine judgment, its brilliance blinding. Kurenai gasped, shielding her eyes. Naruto! Is he crazy? Kiba yelled, the lightning reflecting in his wide eyes. Even Sasuke flinched, the oppressive chakra forcing him to his knees as he watched with a mix of awe and frustration. But Naruto didn't flinch. He didn't waver. With a sharp movement of his wrist, the sea of petals surged forward, colliding with the lightning in midair. The clash was cataclysmic. The ground quaked violently, and an ear-splitting roar filled the air as the petals and lightning fought for dominance. The light from the clash illuminated the battlefield, bathing everyone in a mixture of pink and white brilliance. Raiga sneered, pouring more chakra into his attack. The Kiba swords crackled with renewed vigor as he forced the lightning to intensify. "You're strong, I'll give you that. But no one can match the power of nature itself." Naruto's gaze hardened. Power without control is meaningless. The petals began to change, condensing and sharpening as they swirled together. The chaotic storm of blades transformed into a focused, rotating column that surged straight through Raiga's lightning attack. The lightning crackled and split apart as the blades pierced through it, scattering the energy into harmless sparks that faded into the air. Raiga's grin faltered. "What?" The column of petals twisted and turned, flowing like a serpent as it raced toward Raiga with deadly precision. He raised his Kiba swords to defend himself, summoning a protective barrier of lightning around his body. The petals clashed against the barrier, but instead of scattering, they began to press inward, grinding against the shield like a relentless tide. Raiga growled, his muscles straining as he poured more chakra into his defense. "I won't be beaten by some brat with fancy tricks." Naruto's voice cut through the chaos, calm yet commanding. "You've already lost." With a flick of his wrist, the petals surged forward in unison, breaking through Raiga's lightning barrier. The Kiba swords sparked as they struggled to repel the onslaught, but it was no use. The petals enveloped Raiga, pressing him to his knees as they sliced through his armor and skin with surgical precision. Blood dripped from Raiga's wounds as he gasped for breath, his once manic expression replaced with one of disbelief. "This can't be." Naruto stepped forward, his calm gaze meeting Raiga's wild eyes. "This is the difference between us. You rely on brute force, while I wield power with purpose." The petals swirled around Naruto, glowing with an otherworldly light as they prepared for the final strike. Raiga's hands trembled as he gripped the Kiba swords, his mind racing for a way out. "I can't die here not like this." Just as Naruto raised Senbonzakura's hilt to deliver the finishing blow, Raiga's expression twisted into a desperate smirk. "If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me." Before anyone could react, Raiga slammed the Kiba swords into the ground, releasing a surge of lightning that enveloped his body. The electricity crackled, striking both fighters. When the light faded, Raiga was gone. All that remained was a scorched patch of earth where he had stood. Naruto's petals hovered in the air, motionless as he assessed the scene. His sharp eyes narrowed as he scanned for any trace of Raiga's presence. Sasuke stepped forward, his Sharingan active. He's gone." "No," Naruto said firmly. He closed his eyes, his expression unreadable. "That wasn't him. It was a clone." Kurenai's eyes widened. "A clone? But the power he used." "It was a diversion," Naruto interrupted. "He used the clone to fake his death and cover his escape. The real Raiga is gone." The others exchanged uneasy glances, the realization sinking in. Hinata stepped forward hesitantly, her Byakugan scanning the surrounding area. "I don't see him anywhere. He must have fled far away." Naruto lowered Senbonzakura's hilt, the petals slowly returning to his side. He let out a quiet sigh, his calm demeanor unshaken despite the tension of the battle. "We'll cross paths again," Naruto said quietly, his voice carrying a note of finality. "And next time, he won't be so lucky." The storm clouds began to dissipate, the oppressive weight lifting from the air as the battle came to an end. The group stood in silence, the aftermath of the clash leaving them with more questions than answers. Sakura was the first to speak, her voice trembling. "Naruto, what was that? Those petals, that power?" Naruto turned to face her, his expression unreadable. "It's complicated." Sasuke narrowed his eyes, his frustration bubbling to the surface. "You owe us an explanation." Naruto met his gaze, his calm composure unwavering. Chapter 22, Beyond Reach. The misty forest echoed with silence as Kakashi stumbled into view, his movements sluggish and strained. The legendary copy ninja looked exhausted, his shoulders sagging under the weight of chakra depletion. His Sharingan eye was closed, and he barely glanced at the others as he approached. Flashback. His battle with Zabuza had seemingly come to a sudden, anticlimactic end. The Mist Hunter Nin had struck Zabuza down with precision, claiming his life, or so it seemed. Kakashi had allowed the mysterious figure to leave with Zabuza's body, the battle concluding without a true victor. Kakashi's gaze fell on Naruto, who stood calmly amidst a sea of swirling cherry blossom petals. The ethereal pink light cast an otherworldly glow around him, making the scene both beautiful and unnerving. What the hell are those petals, Naruto? Kakashi managed to ask, his voice weary but sharp with curiosity. Naruto closed his eyes briefly, gripping the hilt of Senbonzakura. With a simple thought, the petals ceased their mesmerizing dance and reformed into a solid blade, the transformation as seamless as a flowing river. That, Naruto replied evenly, is the power of my blade, Senbonzakura. Kakashi blinked, his visible eye narrowing as he tried to process Naruto's words. Your blade, Senbonzakura, he repeated, his tone contemplative. Before he could probe further, his body betrayed him. The toll of the battle overwhelmed him, and his legs gave out. Kakashi-sensei! Sakura cried out. Naruto moved swiftly, catching his sensei before he hit the ground. He slung Kakashi over his back with ease, his expression calm but his eyes sharp as they scanned the surroundings. Extending his senses, Naruto searched for any lingering enemies, but the two hidden presences, Raiga and Zabuza's accomplices, he had detected earlier had disappeared entirely. They're gone, Naruto muttered, more to himself than anyone else. With that, he turned back to the group. As Naruto walked towards them, carrying the unconscious Kakashi, Kiba and Sasuke were the first to close the distance. Both of them stared at the blade in his hand, curiosity and suspicion written all over their faces. Naruto! Kiba called out, his tone half demanding, half intrigued. Where the hell did you get a sword like that? Sasuke's eyes narrowed, his gaze fixed on the hilt of Senbonzakura. You're hiding something, he said, his voice low and accusatory. Behind them, Shino, Kurenai, Hinata, and Sakura also watched with curiosity. Shino's unreadable expression masked a deep interest in the weapon's properties. Kurenai seemed wary, as if sensing something off about the blade. Hinata's gaze lingered on Naruto, her usual admiration tinged with wonder. Naruto glanced at the group, his expression unreadable. The blade is my creation, he said simply, his tone leaving no room for argument. And I'm the only one who can wield it. The group froze at his words, a collective wave of awe washing over them. You created it? Sakura asked, her voice filled with disbelief. Sakura Naruto, how did he create something so incredible? First, he defeats Raiga, and now this, he's amazing. Her inner conflict between her feelings for Sasuke and her growing respect and fascination for Naruto simmered beneath the surface. She thought. Naruto nodded, though he didn't elaborate further. That's right. No one else can use it. Kiba whistled, his grin widening. Damn, Naruto. I knew you were talented, but this is next level. Shino tilted his head. A unique weapon, forged by your own hands, fascinating. Sasuke, however, wasn't convinced. His jaw tightened as he took a step forward. If you're the only one who can wield it, prove it. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the challenge, but his expression remained calm. Without hesitation, he held the blade out to Sasuke. Feel free to try. Sasuke took the hilt, gripping it tightly. What's the release command? Scatter, Senbonzakura, Naruto said simply. Sasuke glared at the blade, his Sharingan spinning as he poured his focus into it. Scatter, Senbonzakura, he commanded, his voice firm. Nothing happened. Kiba snickered. Maybe you're saying it wrong, Sasuke. Annoyed, Sasuke shoved the blade into Kiba's hands. Fine, you try it. Kiba grinned, gripping the hilt with confidence. Watch and learn. Scatter, Senbonzakura. Again, nothing happened. Kiba frowned, shaking the sword as if that would help. What the hell? He handed the blade back to Naruto, who took it with a slight smirk. It's not about the words, Naruto said, his voice calm but carrying an edge of amusement. He held the hilt up, his gaze meeting Sasuke's. It's about the bond between the blade and its wielder. With that, Naruto uttered the command. Scatter, Senbonzakura. The sword dissolved instantly, the petals bursting forth in a dazzling display. They swirled around Naruto in perfect harmony, their ethereal glow casting a soft light on the stunned faces of his teammates. Sasuke's fists clenched at his sides, his frustration boiling over. He's getting further and further out of reach. Tazuna cleared his throat, breaking the tense silence. This is all very impressive, but shouldn't we be getting to my house? You know, before more maniacs show up? Naruto nodded, the petals returning to the hilt as the sword reformed. He's right. Let's move. With that, the group continued their journey, though the atmosphere was far from calm. Sasuke walked in silence, his eyes burning with determination. Kiba and Shino exchanged quiet words about Naruto's blade, while Sakura trailed behind, her gaze flickering between Naruto and Sasuke. The journey to Tazuna's home was completed in a tense silence, the weight of their recent battles hanging heavy in the air. Naruto carried the exhausted Kakashi on his back with an ease that belied the Jonin's size, his steps steady and sure. As they emerged from the tree-line, Simple House came into view. A woman with dark hair stood waiting by the door, her expression a mixture of relief and anxiety. She rushed forward as they approached. "Father! You're safe!" she exclaimed, embracing Tazuna. She bowed her head to the Konoha shinobi. "Thank you for bringing him home." A small boy with a distinctive striped hat suddenly ran from the house, throwing his arms around Tazuna's legs. "Grandpa!" "Inari!" Tazuna chuckled, ruffling the boy's hair. Inari looked up at the group of shinobi, his eyes wide and wary. "Who are they?" "They're my bodyguards, kiddo," Tazuna explained. "Super strong ninja who are protecting me while I finish the bridge." Inari's face immediately fell. He pulled away from his grandfather, his small fists clenched. "You have to stop, Grandpa. Just stop it. If you keep going, he'll kill you." The boy's voice cracked with fear. "Inari, the bridge is our only hope," Tazuna said, his voice gentle but firm. "It's the only way to free this land from Gado's thumb." "You're an idiot!" Inari shouted, tears welling in his eyes before he turned and fled back into the house, slamming the door behind him. Meanwhile, in a dilapidated hideout deep within the Land of Waves, Zabuza Momochi cleaned his massive blade while Haku tended to his wounds. Raiga Kurasuke sat in a corner, polishing his kiba blades with a manic energy. Ranmaru laid quietly on his back. The tense silence was broken by the arrival of their employer. Gado strode in, flanked by two burly samurai. "So," he sneered, his voice dripping with condescension. "How did my highly paid, legendary ninja fare against a washed-up bridge builder?" "There were complications," Zabuza grunted, not bothering to look up. "Konoha shinobi." Gado laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Complications? I had a feeling you fools would fail, so I took the liberty of hiring more help." Zabuza's hand tightened on his blade, his glare sharp enough to cut stone. "What did you say?" "It's a competition now," Gado declared, enjoying the tension. "Whoever brings me Tazuna's head gets the full payment. The rest of you get nothing." With a final sneer, he turned and left. "Competition," Raiga repeated, a wide, predatory grin spreading across his face. Inwardly, however, he was seething. He didn't care about the money or the other ninja. All he could think about was the brat with the cherry blossom blade. "I hope these extras Gado hired don't get in my way," he thought, his grin turning savage. "That boy's head is mine." Back at Tazuna's home. As the days passed, the genin began a rigorous training regimen under Kurenai's supervision, preparing for the inevitable next attack. Naruto, however, stood apart from the group, his watchful gaze sweeping over them, lingering for a moment longer whenever it passed over Hinata. He could feel it, the sensation of being watched. A skilled observer, hidden somewhere in the trees. He made no move to confront them, choosing instead to remain vigilant. That evening, the atmosphere at the dinner table was thick with unspoken tension. Inari sat silently, pushing food around his plate, until he finally snapped. "Why?" he burst out, glaring at the shinobi. "Why do you guys bother to try so hard? No matter how much you train, you're no match for Gado's men. No matter what glorious claims you make, the weak will only end up getting killed." His voice trembled with a mixture of anger and despair. "You know nothing about this land. Nothing about suffering. You should just go back to your easy lives." The room fell silent. Before Kurenai or Kiba could retort, Naruto spoke, his voice cold and devoid of emotion. "You speak of suffering," he began, his blue eyes locking onto Inari's. "Our sensei, Kakashi, has lost his father, his teammates, and his own sensei. Sasuke, sitting right there, is the last of his clan, a clan that was slaughtered in a single night." Naruto's gaze didn't waver. "The life of a shinobi is not as glamorous as you think. It is a path paved with loss. Do not assume you are the only one who has ever known pain." Inari flinched as if struck. Tears streamed down his face as he pushed himself away from the table and ran out of the room. Tsunami sighed, her expression sorrowful. He wasn't always like this," she explained softly. She told them the story of Kaiza, a fisherman who had become the town's hero, a father figure to Inari. She described how Gado had publicly executed Kaiza for defying him, and how Inari's spirit had broken that day, his belief in heroes dying along with the man he admired. Later, Kakashi found Inari sitting on the porch, staring at the swatter. The boy didn't look up as the jonin sat down beside him. Naruto didn't mean to be harsh, Kakashi said quietly. That's just how he is. He speaks in truths, even when they're painful. Inari remained silent, hugging his knees to his chest. You think he doesn't understand, Kakashi continued, his gaze drifting towards the unfinished bridge in the distance. But you're wrong. Naruto's life has been filled with its own kind of suffering. He's an orphan, he carries a burden that has made most of the village scorn him since the day he was born. Even within his own clan, a noble family that took him in, he is an outsider. He hears the whispers of the monster they think he is, and feels the crushing weight of a noble name he must uphold. Inari finally looked at Kakashi, his expression filled with confusion. You saw your hero die, and you decided heroes don't exist, Kakashi said, his voice soft but firm. Naruto lives a life surrounded by scorn and distrust, and yet he chooses to become a hero anyway. A true hero isn't someone who never feels fear or pain, Inari. It's someone who stands up for what they believe in, especially when they're afraid. Kakashi stood up, placing a hand gently on the boy's head. Kaiza fought for this village because he loved it. Naruto fights to protect his comrades because it is his duty. They both chose to act, despite the risks. He looked down at the small, trembling boy. The only real weakness, Inari, is giving up. Naruto chooses to fight. What will you choose? With that, Kakashi walked away, leaving Inari alone with his thoughts, his tear-filled eyes fixed on the distant, half-finished bridge, a monument to both his fear and his fading hope. Chapter 24. A familiar ghost in the mist. The days at Tazuna's home settled into a tense but manageable routine. With Kakashi still recovering from chakra exhaustion after his battle with Zabuza, Kurenai took charge of their training. She pushed the genin to their limits with chakra control exercises, preparing them for the thick, oppressive mist that blanketed the land. When they weren't training, the two teams rotated guard duty, standing as silent sentinels while Tazuna and his small, brave crew of workers laid the foundations of the bridge that represented their hope. During his off hours, Naruto did not rest. He walked the desolate streets of the Land of Waves. With his cold, perceptive eyes, he saw everything: the hollowed faces of the villagers, the shuttered shops, the malnourished children who looked at him with a mixture of fear and awe. It was a land suffocated by despair, a quiet misery that settled deep in his bones. The suffering was palpable, a stark reminder of the stakes of their mission. One early morning, he ventured into the forest, the air cool and damp. His senses, always sharp, picked up on a familiar presence. It was one of the two signatures he'd felt hiding in the mist during their first battle, the one that was subtle, quiet, and deceptively calm. He moved silently through the trees, his footsteps making no sound. He soon found the source, a young woman, her back to him, kneeling gracefully as she gathered medicinal herbs. She wore a simple pink kimono, and her long, dark hair was tied back, revealing a delicate and strikingly beautiful face. Naruto remained hidden in the shadows, his mind analytical. She is Zabuza and Raiga's accomplice. Her presence is faint, but it's the one he sensed. Gathering herbs for him? Or for Raiga? He saw no malice in her actions, only a quiet focus. He decided against a direct confrontation, choosing instead to observe and gather information. The next day, their paths crossed again. Naruto was walking near the edge of the forest when he saw her. This time, she looked up, and their eyes met. Haku's heart seized in her chest. For days, she had been wrestling with the impossible truth of who he was. Seeing him now, up close, with those piercing blue eyes set in a face so reminiscent of the man her soul remembered, it was almost too much to bear. Her every instinct screamed to run to him, to say his name by Kuya-sama, but her loyalty to Zabuza held her captive. She forced a serene, neutral expression onto her face, betraying none of the raging turmoil within. "Hello," Naruto said, his voice as calm and formal as ever. He had decided a direct, non-confrontational approach would yield the most information. "Hello," Haku replied, her voice soft and melodic. She gave a slight, respectful bow. "You are one of the shinobi from Konoha, aren't you?" "I am," Naruto confirmed, his gaze never leaving her. As they spoke, Naruto felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. It wasn't just her chakra signature. It was in the gentle cadence of her voice, the soft, almost sad kindness in her violet eyes, the way she held herself with a delicate grace that seemed both strong and fragile. It was a feeling that resonated deep within his soul, a faint, ghostly echo of a memory he couldn't quite grasp. He was reminded of a quiet garden, a gentle smile, and a profound, aching sense of loss. "Are you training?" Haku asked, her voice pulling him from his thoughts. "Something like that," Naruto replied, his gaze still analytical, yet softer than before. "One must always be prepared." Haku nodded, her eyes downcast. "That is true. especially when you have someone precious to protect. The words struck a chord deep within Naruto. He thought of his vow to protect Hinata, the duty that defined his entire existence. You speak as if from experience. A sad, gentle smile touched Haku's lips. I do, she said softly, her gaze distant. I have someone precious to me. He saved me from a life of loneliness, and gave me a purpose. For him, I can become a true weapon. For him, I can kill. The conviction in her voice was absolute, yet Naruto could sense the deep well of sorrow behind it. This person wasn't a monster like Zabuza or Raiga. She was something else. Someone bound by a powerful, perhaps even tragic, sense of loyalty. This feeling, Naruto thought, his brow furrowed in concentration. Why does she feel so familiar? It's like I've known her my entire life and lost her. I see, Naruto finally said, the word feeling inadequate. Haku gave another small bow. I must go now. It was nice speaking with you. She turned to leave, her heart aching with every step she took away from him. To be so close, yet to be separated by a chasm of duty and circumstance, was a unique and exquisite torture. Naruto watched her disappear into the misty woods, the unsettling feeling of familiarity lingering long after she was gone. He stood there for a long time, trying to place the ghost of a memory, the echo of a name that danced just at the edge of his consciousness, forever beyond his reach. The air on the bridge was heavy with the silence of the fallen. Tools lay scattered where they had been dropped, and the bridge workers were slumped over their posts, unconscious but, thankfully, still breathing. Tazuna's breath hitched, a choked cry escaping his lips as he ran towards one of his men. They're just knocked out, Kakashi confirmed, his Sharingan sweeping over the scene. A non-lethal approach. They're trying to isolate us. As if summoned by his words, a thick, cloying mist began to roll in from the sea, swallowing the skeletal framework of the bridge in a damp, gray shroud. Visibility dropped to near zero. Sakura shivered, drawing a kunai. It's starting. They're here, Kakashi, Naruto stated, his voice calm and clear in the disorienting fog. His hand rested on the hilt of his sword. From the swirling vapors, four figures emerged like phantoms. At the forefront stood Zabuza Momochi, his massive executioner's blade resting on his shoulder. Beside him, the masked, slender form of Haku. A short distance away, Raiga Kurasuke appeared, a manic grin on his face and a small earpiece nestled in his ear. The final figure stood perched atop the bridge's metal superstructure, looking down on them. He was lanky and cruel-faced, the long, needle-like sword Nuabari held loosely in his hand. Zabuza's gaze flickered upwards. Courier, he grunted, recognizing his face and the blade. So you're one of Gato's new dogs. Raiga let out a cackle, his eyes glinting with madness. Kushimara's little brother, isn't it? I always hated that sadistic bastard. Ameo Courier smirked from his perch. It's an honor to be recognized by legends. I assume you're also here on Gato's payroll. Don't get in my way, Raiga snarled, pointing one of the Kiba blades at Naruto. The brat with the cherry blossoms, his funeral is mine to conduct. The old man is my target, Zabuza added, his voice a low growl. Stay out of it. Ameo's smirk widened. He gave Raiga a mock bow. I'll gladly stay out of your business, Raigadano. An artist should be allowed his canvas. He then turned his gaze to Zabuza, his tone hardening. But the bridge builder Gato's contract states whoever gets the head gets the prize. I have no intention of letting you claim it, demon of the mist. Before Zabuza could retort, a new figure materialized seemingly from the steel girders of the bridge itself. He was a solid, powerfully built man clad in the flak jacket of a stone jonin. Enough talk, Gansiki said, his voice a low rumble. The client isn't paying for posturing. Naruto's eyes narrowed. His gaze swept over Ameo and Gansiki, a flicker of recognition in his expression. So, he thought, these are the two I sense watching the house. He took a subtle but deliberate step forward, positioning himself slightly ahead of his team and the terrified bridge builder. Though his primary duty was to his family back at the Hyuga estate, his vow of protection was an extension of his very being. These people, this mission, they were now under his purview. He would not allow them to fall. The tension on the bridge was a palpable thing, a coiled serpent ready to strike. The villains were not a united front. They were a pack of wolves, each ready to tear the others apart for the prize. Kakashi's visible eye hardened. Sasuke, Sakura, protect Tazuna. Do not engage unless you have to. Sasuke's Sharingan spun, his gaze locked on the array of powerful enemies. Who do we? Naruto, Kakashi said, his voice low and serious. You and I will take the vanguard. We need to thin their numbers. Naruto gave a curt nod, his hand tightening on Senbonzakura. Raiga laughed, the sound echoing unnervingly in the mist. Splitting up the duties? How professional! He raised his kiba blades, lightning beginning to crackle around them. Let's see whose funeral we'll be planning first. The battle on the bridge was about to begin. Chapter 26: The Smallest Hero. While the main confrontation raged on the bridge, a different kind of evil arrived at Tazuna's home. Two brutish samurai, hired thugs in Gato's employ, kicked open the door with a splintering crash. Tsunami gasped, instinctively moving to shield her son. Where's the bridge builder? The first man, a portly brute with a scarred face, growled. He's not here, Tsunami replied, her voice trembling but firm. Doesn't matter, the second thug sneered, grabbing her arm. You'll make a fine bargaining chip. Let's go. They dragged a struggling Tsunami out into the muddy yard. Just as they did, Inari burst from the house, his small face pale with terror but set with a desperate resolve. Let her go. Let my mom go, he screamed, planting his feet in the dirt. Hidden in the dense foliage nearby, Kiba, Shino, and Kurenai watched the scene unfold. Kiba's muscles were coiled tight, every instinct screaming at him to intervene. That's it, I'm going in, he whispered, his knuckles white. Akamaru let out a low growl of agreement. Wait, Shino's calm voice cut through Kiba's anger. His Kikaichu insects buzzed faintly beneath his collar. Wait for what, Shino? They've got his mom, Kiba hissed. The logical conclusion, Shino stated, his dark glasses hiding his eyes. Inari has been paralyzed by fear since Kaisa's death. He believes heroes don't exist and that the weak can do nothing but die. This is his moment to prove himself wrong. To intervene now would be to rob him of that lesson. Kiba stared at Shino in disbelief, but Kurenai, hidden beside them, gave a slow, deliberate nod. Shino is right, she murmured, her gaze fixed on the boy. This is his fight to start. The bandits laughed at Inari's defiance. Look at the little hero, the scarred one mocked. What are you gonna do, cry at us? He drew his sword, its cruel edge glinting. Maybe we should just kill you now. Save Gato the trouble later. Tsunami's eyes widened in horror. No! If you touch him, I swear, I'll bite off my own tongue and die. You'll have no hostage then. The thug hesitated, then grunted in annoyance. Fine. The woman's more valuable anyway. He turned, dragging Tsunami with him. Let's get out of here. They started to walk away, leaving Inari standing alone, tears streaming down his face. He watched them go, his body shaking with a mixture of terror and despair. The words of Kakashi echoed in his mind. A true hero is someone who stands up for what they believe in, especially when they're afraid. He thought of Kaisa, of his grandfather, of the shinobi who were risking their lives. His small hands clenched into fists. He wouldn't just stand there. Not again. No! Inari screamed, his voice raw with emotion. With a desperate cry, he charged forward, running straight at the armed men who held his mother captive. Inari, no! Tsunami cried out in terror. The second bandit sneered, turning with lightning speed. Stupid kid! He raised his sword, bringing the heavy blade down in a lethal arc aimed directly at Inari's head. The blade never landed. With a sharp clang of steel on steel, the sword was stopped cold, just inches from Inari's face. Shino stood between the boy and the bandit, a kunai held firmly in his hand, his other arm protectively in front of Inari. A swarm of his Kikaichu insects buzzed ominously around his arm. That was a foolish, reckless, and illogical decision, Shino said, his voice as calm as ever as he pushed the bandit's sword back. He then glanced down at the stunned, tear-streaked boy. It was also incredibly brave. Well done, Inari. Before the bandits could react to Shino's sudden appearance, they were beset from the other side. Fang over Fang! Kiba and Akamaru burst from the trees in a single, spinning drill of feral chakra, slamming into the scarred bandit, and sending him flying into the side of the house with a bone-jarring crunch. The second thug, stunned by the ambush, turned just in time to see Kurenai appear before him in a swirl of leaves. Her sharp, crimson eyes seemed to glow with intensity. Demonic illusion, tree-binding death. In an instant, the world around the bandit warped. He found himself bound tightly to an illusory tree, helpless as Kurenai approached with a kunai. The mental shock was so severe that he collapsed to the ground, unconscious, his mind trapped in the genjutsu. Kiba landed with a grin, dusting off his hands as he nudged the unconscious bandit with his foot. See? That's what happens when you mess with the good guys, he declared, finally getting to release his pent-up frustration. Kurenai emerged from the trees, her expression proud as she looked over her team. The bandits were defeated, Tsunami was safe, and a small, crying boy had just discovered the hero within himself. The lesson was complete. Chapter 27: The Bridge of Sacrifices. The mist descended like a shroud, thick and absolute. Zabuza's signature jutsu turned the massive, half-finished bridge into a phantom realm where sight was a liability and sound was a liar. Stay together. Protect Tazuna at all costs. Kakashi's voice cut through the fog, a sharp command that anchored his students. Hinata, you are our eyes. Do not let them out of your sight. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. Hinata's voice was firm, her Byakugan already blazing to life, veins standing out around her temples. The world of gray mist dissolved into a 360-degree tapestry of chakra networks. The attack came without warning. Two blurs of motion separated from the enemy group. One, a storm of crackling lightning, shot directly toward Naruto. The other, a demonic silhouette with a massive blade, engaged Kakashi. The clash of steel and the roar of thunder echoed, and the two Jonin-level conflicts vanished deeper into the mist, leaving the genin alone with the remaining threats. Sakura, Hinata. Formation Delta. Protect the workers. Sasuke barked, taking charge. He, Sakura, and Hinata formed a protective triangle around the terrified Tazuna and the handful of workers. Their opponents did not attack them directly. They were predators, and they understood their prey's weakness. From his high perch, Ameo Kuriere laughed, a thin, cruel sound. Protecting the sheep? How noble! He didn't lunge for the shinobi. Instead, he hurled Nuabari in a wide, graceful arc, not at the defenders, but over them. The long, needle-like blade sailed through the mist, aimed squarely at the cluster of bridge workers huddled 20 meters away. The razor-thin wire attached to it was nearly invisible, a deadly thread meant to stitch them all together in a single, gruesome display. The workers! Sakura screamed in horror. Sasuke's Sharingan tracked the needle, but he was too far away to intercept. He was pinned down, needing to stay with Tazuna. It was a perfect tactical move, forcing an impossible choice. But they had an advantage Ameo hadn't counted on. I see it, Hinata declared. Her Byakugan followed the path of the chakra-laced wire with perfect clarity. There was no time to run, no time to block. She had to do something unprecedented. Pushing past her limits, she dashed forward, not toward the workers, but toward the wire itself as it sang through the air. Gentle step, twin lion fists. Chakra flared around her hands, forming the ethereal blue lion heads. She didn't strike the needle. She struck the wire. The moment her chakra-infused fists made contact, the lion heads roared silently, their chakra-draining properties surging into the thin metal thread. Ameo, reeling in his blade for the kill, felt the chakra in his wire sputter and die. The needle faltered mid-flight, its momentum disrupted, and clattered harmlessly onto the steel beams of the bridge, meters short of its target. From his perch, Ameo stared in disbelief. What? She negated my chakra? He didn't have time to ponder it. The second attack had already begun. Gansiki, the pragmatic stone jonin, slammed his hands onto the bridge's surface. No time for games. If the sheep are on the bridge, then I'll just destroy the bridge. Earth style, stone dragon's maw. The steel and concrete beneath the workers groaned, and then erupted. A massive head formed of rock and debris lunged upwards, jaws wide, intending to swallow the workers and that entire section of the bridge whole. There was no dodging it. It was too big, too wide. Sasuke gritted his teeth, chakra burning in his chest. A normal fireball wouldn't stop it. He had to overwhelm it. He had to push past his own limits. Sakura, get them down! He yelled, his hands a blur of seals. Fire style, dragon flame jutsu. Instead of a single massive fireball, 3 distinct dragon-headed torrents of flame erupted from Sasuke's mouth, weaving through the air like living creatures. They converged on the stone dragon's head from multiple angles, superheating the rock and steel. The sound of hissing, cracking stone filled the air as the earthen jaw began to crumble under the intense, sustained heat. The strain was immense. Sasuke felt his chakra reserves plummeting, his throat burning from the effort, but he held the stream, his Sharingan spinning wildly as he poured everything he had into the attack. While Sasuke held back the dragon, Sakura acted. Her mind raced, her fear eclipsed by a surge of adrenaline. She shoved Tazuna and a worker to the ground as a superheated chunk of rock flew past her head. Get down! Crawl away from the edge! She commanded, her voice clear and authoritative, shocking even herself. She was no longer just a spectator, she was a field commander for the civilians. They had stopped the overt attacks. They had pushed past their limits to protect the innocent. But in focusing on the loud, spectacular threats, they had forgotten the silent one. From the swirling mist, a figure materialized directly beside the cowering Tizuna. It was Haku. She moved without a sound, her presence as quiet and cold as ice. The defenders were all occupied. Sasuke was locked in a battle of attrition with Gansiki, Hinata was recovering from her bold gambit against a male, and Sakura was evacuating the workers. No one was left to guard the primary target. Haku's masked face turned towards Tizuna. 2 Senbon needles, glinting with deadly precision, were held between her fingers. Her hand rose, poised to strike the vital point on the bridge builder's neck. The defenders had won the battle, but in the chaos, they were about to lose the war. Sasuke's lungs burned, his chakra reserves screaming in protest as he maintained the torrent of dragon-headed flames. The stone maw of Gansiki's jutsu hissed and cracked, finally crumbling into a pile of superheated slag and rubble just short of the terrified workers. He dropped to one knee, panting, the immediate threat neutralized but at a great cost to his stamina. Hinata, too, was breathing heavily, the exertion from pushing her twin lion fists to counter Ameo's attack leaving her drained. She had saved the workers, but the gambit had left her momentarily exposed. Sakura, her heart pounding with adrenaline, finally got the last of the cowering workers to relative safety behind a stack of steel beams. "Stay down!" she commanded, her voice holding an authority she never knew she possessed. They had done it. They had weathered the storm, pushed past their limits, and protected their charge. But in the cacophony of their desperate defense, they had all lost sight of the quietest, deadliest threat. Like a ghost materializing from the mist, Haku stood beside Tizuna. Her movements had been utterly silent, her presence masked by the larger, more explosive jutsu. The defenders were all occupied, their focus drawn to the overt displays of power. No one was left to guard the primary target. Haku's masked face turned towards the bridge builder. 2 Senbon needles, glinting with deadly precision, were held between her fingers. This was her duty. Zabuza-sama needed this man dead. It was her purpose. Her hand rose, poised to strike the vital point on the bridge builder's neck, a swift and merciful end. But as she looked at the old man, her gaze flickered past him, to the boy with black hair and piercing blue eyes who was currently locked in a deadly dance with Raiga in the distance. Byakuya-sama, the name was a painful whisper in her soul. A wave of guilt and sorrow washed over her, but she forced it down. Duty came first. Her hand shot forward. It never reached its target. A hand, firm and unyielding, grasped her wrist, stopping the lethal strike cold. The clang of a kunai meeting her saban was the only sound. Haku's eyes widened in shock. From the mist, a figure had materialized, standing protectively in front of Tizuna. A perfect copy of Naruto. It had his black hair, his impassive face, and the same intense, piercing blue eyes. "That objective will not be met," the Naruto clone stated, his voice a calm, even monotone. Haku stumbled back, pulling her hand free as if burned. Her carefully constructed composure shattered. It was him. A perfect copy, radiating the same calm authority, the same soul-deep presence. To be confronted by him, even a duplicate, was her deepest fear realized. The clone didn't press an attack. Instead, it settled into a familiar stance, hands held open, body perfectly balanced. The Hyuga clan's gentle fist. Seeing the noble, precise fighting style, a style so befitting the man her soul remembered, used against her was a unique form of torture. She couldn't bring herself to fight it. She couldn't bring herself to harm him, even a copy. "You will not harm him," the clone said, his tone leaving no room for argument. Torn between her duty to Zabuza and the overwhelming instinct of her past life, Haku's mind raced. She couldn't win. Not like this. She needed to create distance, to escape this impossible confrontation. Her hands flew through one-handed seals. Secret art, 1,000 needles of death. Moisture in the air coalesced and froze, forming a swarm of deadly ice senbon that shot towards the clone. It wasn't an attack meant to kill, it was a diversion. The clone responded with calm efficiency. 8 trigrams vacuum palm. A powerful burst of pure chakra erupted from its palm, creating a shockwave that blasted the ice needles out of the air, shattering them into glittering dust. While the clone was occupied, Haku flashed through more seals. Secret art, demonic mirroring ice crystals. It wasn't the full prison. A handful of crystalline ice mirrors materialized around her, their surfaces shimmering in the mist. Sasuke, having finally caught his breath, witnessed the exchange. His teeth clenched so hard his jaw ached. The real Naruto was holding off Raiga Kurasuke, a legendary swordsman, and his clone was single-handedly neutralizing another high-level threat. The gap between them wasn't just a gap, it was a chasm, and it was growing wider with every passing second. Haku glanced one last time at the clone, a universe of conflict visible in her eyes even behind the mask, before stepping back into one of the mirrors. Her reflection shimmered, and she vanished without a trace, the mirrors dissolving back into the mist. The clone did not pursue. It turned its head, its blue eyes sweeping over to Zuna and the workers, ensuring they were safe. Then, it simply stood there, a silent, unmoving sentinel, a testament to the foresight of its creator, who was still locked in a battle far across the bridge. The immediate danger was over, but for Haku, the true battle had just begun. The battle on the bridge had devolved into a series of desperate, chaotic duels. Naruto's shimmering petals clashed against Raiga's crackling lightning in a mesmerizing, deadly dance. The sheer speed and precision of Senbonzakura had forced the seven swordsmen onto the defensive, his manic grin replaced by a snarl of frustrated rage. "Stand still, you little brat!" Raiga roared, unleashing a wave of electricity that Naruto effortlessly